Oh, yeah. Well, you wanted it. You asked for it. Baseball content. It's arrived. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Great to be here with you on a Wednesday morning. Do have our crew in today. Everyone's here at the same time, which is good. A little different than yesterday, certainly. What a interesting day yesterday was here on the Ben and Woods program. I'm Woodsy. That is Italian Paul. Frank Marchese, Skinny Frank. Good morning, buddy.
Good morning.
Final day with Ben and Woods.
Yes.
How you feeling?
I get to sleep.
You get to sleep. I wonder if your body clock will change like ours has.
No.
And I was up at 2:30 this morning, just scrolling Blake Snell contract news, which we will get into certainly. You don't think it will? You'll be able to sleep in tomorrow?
Well, part of the reason I stayed up until like 1 o'clock in the morning yesterday, but part of the reason was
did.
because I slept for like 4 hours during the day. So that was the reason why.
Yeah, that's fair. To my left, Benjamin R. Higgins, the white knight of the program, the Purple Heart winner of the radio Purple Heart winner for yesterday, coming in, not leaving your brothers in battle, came in, rescued us, to be honest with you. We don't have that kind of award, but if we did, I would give it to you. I'd pin it on your sleeve, a Purple Heart.
I wouldn't go that far, but it was a long day yesterday.
Yeah,
and,
so how did the rest of your day shake out when you left? If you missed it yesterday, Benny didn't come until about 7:40 yesterday because his son was in the hospital. Now I'm assuming all is well?
Yeah, he's back home doing fine and still not really sure what was going on, just a severe pain in his abdomen, and they treated him and he got better, and they never really determined a cause, which is a little alarming, but as you know, my mom said, it's better to not know than know it's something bad.
Correct.
And they didn't have anything specifically bad to point to, so hopefully it just doesn't come back, and it was just a one-time incident, but he's doing fine now. So it was a long day, though, as you know, emergency room, driving at 1 a.m., and that was an adventure. I don't think we really totally talked about that, but like it was at the point where I'm like, okay, red lights are optional. I will slow down a little bit, but it's late. There's no one on the roads. I'm not waiting around on a red light. So, I thought if I had a siren, I'd be turning it on at that point. I turned on my hazard lights as my siren.
Ooh,
and
that's a good bit.
Just started driving pretty fast to get there because, he's in a lot of, the most pain I've ever seen him in my life.
Which is panic.
So, at that point, you're stressed. So I'm wired for the next, 4 or 5 hours, which is, that we were at the emergency room for about 6 hours. And, just sitting in a folding chair that whole time and awake that whole time. I think I may have nodded from like 5 to 5:15 in the chair just for a couple of minutes when he seemed like he was more comfortable. And then, dropped him off at home and he went to sleep, and I came and joined you. Then went home and I thought, okay, I'm going to catch up on sleep, but the Aztecs game was on.
Same thing happened to me.
And I slept for like through the first media timeout. I woke up and it's like 10:08 or something, and I started kind of just then I started watching. I go, that's a pretty good game. And then I started getting kind of wired again. So I did that and then got some exercise after. Then it was off back to Channel 10 and got to Channel 10. I was exhausted. I pulled into Channel 10 about 3:15 or 3:20. And I'm like, all right, I'm exhausted. So I took 15 minutes and napped in the car before I even went in. But then I was up until I got home and went to bed last night at 11. So it was, the old almost 22 straight hours with 2 15-minute naps cooked in yesterday. But I slept well last night, got up this morning feeling pretty much my normal self, and knowing we got a holiday weekend coming up. So here we are.
That helps. I mean, you and I will be teeing off playing golf tomorrow at this very time, though. Like the morons that we are. We're actually playing golf together with our buddy Foster.
Seems a little dark to tee off at
this
time.
I was just...
Is it going to be a lot lighter tomorrow? I don't think so.
I was just texting our hillbilly friend, Foster, who he works at Encinitas Ranch, and me, Ben, our buddy Travis, and Foster are going to play a round of golf in the morning. And I said, well, what
Thanksgiving golf is elite, by the way.
It's elite. There's nothing better than Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving intercourse is pretty good, from what I recall.
Is that a thing? I didn't even know that was a thing.
I just made that up. I'm trying to throw it out into the universe just to see if it works. I doubt it will. But golf is a close second because you go, you play, then you go home, you can relax a little bit. Then you get to go feast later in the day, be with friends and family. But and it gets me out of a turkey trot as well, which, by the way, is not even an official turkey trot that my wife does. It's a turkey trot around the neighborhood with the kids. 3.5 miles,
This
something
is
like
an
that.
unsanctioned,
It's unsanctioned event.
turkey trot?
Yes. And so she's dragging the kids out of bed tomorrow, which they're not going to want to do. And they're going to go on a turkey trot. And I'll be on the golf course. So I have really no problem with it at all. But no, I was right there with you, man. My parents left yesterday, went back early because my mom wasn't feeling well.
She doing better now?
I guess.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
they're back and safe at home, which is, a bummer. I'll miss them on Thanksgiving, certainly. And I'll certainly miss the child care aspect of it. But listen, it's fine. We'll be fine, I'm sure. Our kids, I'm sure, will be great the next 4 or 5 days with just us. It's going to be fantastic. Really looking forward to it. So much for that Thanksgiving intercourse.
So what about you? Were you up last night when the news broke that we will be discussing on the program today?
Yeah, so I was, as I mentioned in our interview yesterday with Jim Brogan, which if you missed it, go back and listen to it at 8 a.m. It was really phenomenal about mental skills. But I did mention to Jim Brogan that I have a little problem at night. I go in and I have some peanut butter and crackers, and it's like a habit. It's literally like a habit now. So I was in there eating my peanut butter and crackers, and all I got was a text that said, Snell. And I wrote, what? And Ben goes, don't look. That's all I got. So I went to sleep. And woke up at 2:30 this morning, checked my phone, and went, all right, I guess I'll just read all these articles and tweets now. So that's what I've been doing all morning for about now 3.5 hours.
I've been, looking for all the Snell content I can, including driving in this morning. I flipped on MLB Network Radio to get their reaction.
They must have been all over it.
I was expecting that, and, I heard a brief comment or two from Steve Phillips and Xavier Scruggs, but mostly they were just taking calls on what your favorite side dish is at Thanksgiving, which is, you know what? I'll be fair. I probably would have done that 10 years ago myself.
We've done it, I think. Yeah.
Have you tried the lasagna? That's my favorite.
Look at you.
That's a good side dish. And look at
you.
Frank jumping in with a
Frankie.
drop.
Wait to wait 72 hours to get those drops in.
It's just kind of a constant stream of, I like the mashed potatoes and gravy. Thanks for the call.
Okay, I do too.
I really like the mashed potatoes and gravy. Yeah, thanks for the call.
That's great.
Someone would jump in. Well, I like the sweet potatoes.
Oh,
okay.
Very cool. Very cool.
I like the green bean casserole.
Wow,
the green
that's
bean
great.
casserole. That's a good one.
Those crispy onions on top.
Then back to about 3 more mashed potatoes and gravy calls.
Yeah, I really like rolls.
Rolls. We got a rolls call.
Rolls are
Someone called with
good.
the rolls for sure.
Man.
Steve called the rolls. They're my cleanup hitter because I use them to clean up my plate.
Can I go home for the day now?
He's actually, he always has a lot of enthusiasm. I'm surprised he was an actual general manager
I know.
sometimes.
It's shocking.
He's almost too corny. Like you actually conducted the business of the New York Mets. You're
Right.
telling me you conducted the business of the Mets, and you're this basically corny dad joke guy on the radio, essentially. And I always wonder, they entrusted that organization to this man.
Yeah, no doubt.
It was like entrusting it to me.
Correct.
You just wouldn't do it.
No, you would not. You're too nice.
Exactly. I'm not a ruthless.
No, you're not a ruthless,
businessman.
hard-hearted Hector. Who banned Hector in the chat? Was that you, Italian Paul?
I didn't ban him.
You put him in timeout.
I put him in timeout.
Nah,
like I told him in the chat, I said I am not going to sit here and take Dodger fan provoking this morning. You signed him. Good for you. Don't sit here and try to provoke and get a reaction. You don't do that. Sorry.
Hector's harmless. Listen, we'll get into the Blake Snell talk, certainly. I have a lot of thoughts about it. I may surprise you. My thoughts may surprise you. The target of my ire may surprise you. It's not at Blake Snell. And it's really not at the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I will say, it's interesting. We're coming up tomorrow, Ben. You may remember this. We played Thanksgiving golf together last year. And I did get a pissy text from the front office of the San Diego Padres. And I'm fully expecting to get one tomorrow on Thanksgiving. We'll keep that. That's one of my favorite Thanksgiving traditions, getting a pissy text from a member of the front office about something I said. And I fully expect it to continue tomorrow. I look forward to that. I'll be up. So you're not waking me up. I'll be up playing golf if you're listening, and I know you probably are. But I'll expect one in the morning.
I liked your tease. I'm going to one-up you. You said you might be surprised about where my ire lies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll go even further. I'll say you might be surprised why I'm actually kind of happy about this. So there you go.
Why this is actually a good thing.
Why this is actually a good thing by Ben Higgins. It's my specialty,
It
Woods.
literally, it is so.
Take the worst thing in the world and then come back with why this is actually a good thing and you didn't realize it.
You did this when they were on the cusp of winning the World Series.
I did, and I can do it again with the signing of Blake Snell. Don't worry about it. I've given it some thought, and we now have why this is a good thing for the San Diego Padres. That Blake Snell has signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
No. I can't. Ben is the type to be like, I've got violent diarrhea, but actually it's pretty cool because I lost a little bit of weight. And I had some time to myself on the crapper, and I was able to get through these 10 pages that Jim Brogan told me to read.
Yep.
He can literally polish any turd that you give him. He can polish it. And it is truly, it's an art form. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I get the pissy text. We'll see if you can bright side this thing. I will say this. At least we have the San Diego State Aztecs. At least we have them. I was inspired watching them play yesterday. And I think Italian Paul can attest to this. I took them yesterday. I did. I talked about them. I took them, put my actual money on them, and kicked my feet up and was never really in doubt yesterday. And I thought it was a really good performance, which we'll talk about as well.
All right, we will set the menu for the program coming up. We also have some special guests coming in studio again on this day before Thanksgiving. We've got Paulie still on his vacation in Las Vegas. He was at that game yesterday.
He was at that game.
Sent us some pictures.
What a great game to go to.
With his wife, Megan. We got Frankie, we got Woods, we got Ben. We got Kelly Danik with traffic. Hopefully not too bad. I know people sometimes hit the road on the day before Thanksgiving, so she'll keep you updated in case you are one of those road trippers heading to see family tomorrow. And we will be right back with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, here we go. Black 17 on. That is mine. No. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go. Black 17 on. That is mine. No. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Mashed potatoes are good. We have definitely determined mashed potatoes and gravy. Elite side dish.
Yep. I don't do the gravy myself.
You don't do the gravy.
I don't
What
do
do you mean
the
you
gravy.
don't do the gravy?
I don't really like gravy. I don't like gravy.
I mean, bad gravy isn't,
I don't like any
isn't
gravy.
good.
I
Good,
don't like
good gravy
I mean, if some finds its way somehow onto my plate, I don't. But I
Not
don't
even on the turkey. The turkey's a pretty lean meat.
So I take the turkey and I drag it through the mashed potatoes and I eat that bite. And I might even put some green bean casserole. I like to mix. I like bowls and scrambles, right? I'll eat a bowl or a scramble all day long.
You are living in the right era. Woods.
Yes, 100%.
Bowls weren't even a thing when we grew up, but now you put everything in a bowl together.
Yeah,
and
so,
eat it.
So I don't like gravy. I think I've had too much bad gravy, and also
That's fair. Bad gravy is bad when it's got the little bits of flour and it's not.
How about
you got to
that?
whisk it the entire time to make it smooth.
Yes,
and delicious. But gravy is important to just moisten your meal.
Velva
Velva.
in the chat says, you gravy haters are ridiculous. You eat mashed potatoes dry. They're wet by nature. They're mixed with milk and butter. They're not dry. It's not. You don't slice pieces of raw potato off and eat it. That's dry. This is wet.
Well, you're doing the mashed potatoes wrong if they're dry, for sure.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Can mashed potatoes be dry?
Well,
If they sit out
if
for
people make them out of
hours-
a box, with that.
Well, yeah, who does that?
People do.
So, yeah, you put a little butter in there, a little salt, and then I drag the turkey.
Have you ever tried
through
putting cream cheese in your mashed potatoes?
No, but cream cheese is good in anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything. But I'm just not a gravy fan. The skin, the thought of the gravy skin on top of it, that you walk up to the gravy boat and there's that skin on top that you have to now push down with the ladle and mix it up, and you're like, I'm getting pieces of gravy skin in here. I know that. So I don't mess with it. Pumpkin pie sewer wrap may taste like pumpkin pie, but I wouldn't know. I'd never eat the filthy MFer. So that's my feeling about gravy. I'm out.
Anyway, looking forward to Thanksgiving tomorrow. I'm sure a lot of you tier ones out there are. Hope you have a very happy holiday. Before then, though, we should have an interesting program for you today. We will jump right in here at the bottom of the hour with the breaking news last night. The Los Angeles Dodgers agreeing to a 5-year, $182 million contract with Blake Snell. You might have heard of him, left-handed pitcher, won a couple of Cy Young Awards, actually pitched here in San Diego for 4 seasons.
He did.
You might remember, kind of a tall guy, somewhat quirky, likes streaming video games online. We have some details on that contract. You'd be shocked to know that it's not actually 5 years, $182 million. The Dodgers are doing some funny accounting, and we'll let you know what that funny accounting looks like.
Well, I can tell you right now, it's $69 a year for 4 years. And then the last deal, it's $153 million.
But they jump in early, and we can react to Blake Snell's unsurprising decision to be one of the first players to sign in the offseason as opposed to last offseason.
I mean, you want to talk about learning from your mistakes, right? Like last year. I will say this. I hated it. I hated every second of it, and it really bummed me out. The one thing I did like about it is that he announced it himself. He's the one that announced it. He posted on his Instagram him in a Dodger uniform, and that was the first that anybody reported it. And I thought that was pretty cool. And honestly, that's kind of how it should be. I thought that was really refreshing. Now, I hated the picture. I even wrote on there, thanks, I hate it. And I got Dodger fans coming after me. I'm a big Blake Snell fan, really wanted him back here. It is not to be. So now you got to figure out a way to beat Blake Snell.
Talk at 7 o'clock about the Aztecs, a little college basketball from yesterday. A very, I think, an important win for San Diego State early in the season with a team that you just don't know. So many new pieces, new parts. How are they going to come together? Talk about their 71-53 win over Creighton last night, and then you got to jump right back onto the court today for the second game of the Players Era Festival. So we'll talk a little San Diego State basketball. Have our usual 7 o'clock features. Take on Woods. Only chance to win a prize. Last chance to win the prize this month, I believe, for the getaway to Las Vegas. Because when we return on Monday, it'll be December. We will be fully in Christmas month. It'll be December 2nd, the month of the extravaganza. On December 20th, we'll be ticking down the final 3 weeks of the Ben and Woods calendar once we get back. So got a lot to get to today. Second half of the program, we have some guests coming in at 8:35. We will be joined by, I believe, a couple of longtime members and returning members and captains of Woods' San Diego Seals. Our San Diego Seals, who open their season this Sunday at Pechanga Arena. We've got Westberg and Cam Holding.
Yeah, buddy.
Coming in to talk about the opener to the season this week in the National Lacrosse League. And those guys are always they're just good guys.
The best human beings that I've ever met in professional sports all play for the San Diego Seals, and it's not even particularly close. I'm really excited to see them. It's been a long off season, and now the season's going to get cranked up against Philly on Sunday, which will be a new experience for me, working a Sunday afternoon game, but happy to do it. Excited to be back for my 6th year.
That's 6
Yeah.
years?
Remember,
What?
we were brand new on the air when
That is true.
when I got that gig. So yeah, I'm excited, dude.
That's incredible how time flies.
Yep.
That the Seals have been around for 6 seasons, and you've called every single one of their games.
Every single home
Now
game.
that ends this year.
It ends this year. The Iron Man streak coming to an end. So they're doing a big ceremony for me and
would think
everything.
so.
I'm hoping that I get like a big ceremony. I don't know. Put my number up in the rafters with Brody Merrill, but no, I'm stoked to see them. They're such good dudes, and then our buddy Caesar's coming in with them as well because he's the beer sponsor. He's bringing us some beer. He's going to talk about some of the things that they're doing at his amazing company, Emo Brown, helping out families as they always do. They're the most charitable bunch of guys out there. So always happy to support all of those people, all good people.
Perfect. I can take one of those 6-packs, bring it with me to Thanksgiving tomorrow.
100% show up a big hero.
Outstanding
Yep.
timing. And then 9 o'clock hour, Frankie will have his version of the Round Report. We'll talk a little football, new college playoff rankings that came out yesterday. Look ahead to the Thanksgiving. Is it a triple header again tomorrow? In the NFL, they've been doing that the last few years, where they have 3 games tomorrow. I haven't even looked at the haven't actually looked at the schedule this week. What do we have this week?
There are 3
Bears,
games.
Lions, traditional. Giants, Cowboys, somewhat traditional. Obviously, Dallas always hosts. And
Terrible.
Miami, Green Bay are
Yep.
the trio of games coming up this week on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's like a turd sandwich, basically. You have a nice piece of bread in the morning, then you have a nice turd in the middle, and then you have another nice piece of bread as far as good games go in the afternoon.
The first and last game are not bad.
Not bad. Yeah. I mean the Bears aren't great, but it's
But,
exciting. The
Caleb
Lions are a
Williams.
lot of fun to
They are.
Lions are a lot of fun to watch.
And Miami's been playing better lately, and Green Bay is they're rolling toward the playoffs. They're pretty good. So that's your triple header of NFL football that we have for you tomorrow. And then we've got some hot food takes in our last segment before Annie and Elston take over, and we head on to our holiday weekend, our 4 days off, and get ready for December to start. So we'll take a timeout. I know you want to talk about Blake Snell, get our reactions. You want to chime in, you can as well.
Honestly, like I'm seeing a lot of this, bad for baseball. Manfred needs to step in and do something. And I think it's a fair conversation. I don't necessarily agree, but I do think it's a conversation that needs to be had. And again, I cannot blame Friedman and the Dodgers for doing what they're doing. They're striking while the iron's hot. We'll talk about all of that.
Next, with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, I'm going to start by just accepting the hard truth of the Blake Snell signing. This was a very, very smart move by the Dodgers.
Oh, yeah.
Blake Snell is like the perfect signing for them.
Correct. They needed a lefty so desperately, and who better than Blake Snell? Italian Paul and I were going at it this morning. He thinks it's an overpay, and I just do not think it's an overpay at all, especially with what the deferments are and what it comes down to. You're looking at between 20, I think the number I saw was between 26 and 30. A two-time Cy Young Award winner, highest K per nine. I mean, he is an elite pitcher.
And what if there is a knock on Blake Snell? It's his slow starts.
Yeah.
He's not a great first-half pitcher.
Who cares?
They don't care. They could care less if Blake Snell has a bad April, May, and June.
That's
if he
it.
pitches like he does down the stretch and in the playoffs for the Dodgers, it's the perfect signing for them. They don't need a guy who's going to throw 220 innings because they have maybe 9 or 10 pitchers, starting pitchers that they can go to. They absolutely, it's probably the smartest team that could have signed Blake Snell this offseason. Of course, the deal that's being reported is not the actual deal, and we will talk about what's really going on here after a quick check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan. Forget it was who did the math. I think maybe it was Morosi, but he said Blake Snell signed 112 days earlier this offseason than he did last offseason.
That's
And,
unbelievable, man.
You know, we'll never know exactly what went on privately between him and Scott Boras after kind of the debacle
Well,
of free agency last year.
You're coming off of Cy Young. You got to be feeling at the top of the world, on the top of the world. You're like, I just finished winning a Cy Young for my team. I'm now a free agent. That's the dream. You hit free agency. I just want a Cy Young, and the offers, whatever they were, I don't know. I don't know what he turned down. You know, none of us will ever really know what he turned down in that era. But now it's very clear, Ben. Well, he said, I hated this. I hated every second.
Right. He was upfront about it. And I was frankly surprised when he didn't change agents in the offseason. And we'll never probably know the truth of it, other than the fact that Blake Snell's pretty open and honest, so he may just blurt it out during a video game stream at some point. My guess is he told Scott Boras, if you want to stay my agent, we're doing this differently.
Yeah.
I'm signing quickly. We're not playing the old in the media game of mystery team and, you know, this team against the other team. We're going to sign quickly, get me the best deal possible. Kind of want to be on the West Coast, you know. Just get it done. Get a quick deal done, and, you know, let's just be done with the offseason. And that's what they did. They signed quickly. He now has the full offseason to prepare for becoming part of a Dodgers rotation that even if they did nothing else the rest of the offseason would be Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani coming back and pitching for them. And they've got guys coming back from injury, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, Clayton Kershaw at some point, may join that rotation. They still have their young guys, Bobby Miller, Landon Knack. It is a ridiculous wealth, an overabundance of starting pitching that no other team in baseball can even come close to matching at this point.
No, and I do wonder what their plan is going to be, because you look at, and all those names you just listed, bro, there's some really nice potential trade targets, right? I mean, you could flip Knack or Bobby Miller. You know, if you wanted to do even some, you know what? Let's reload the farm a little bit. Even if we wanted to, but they don't have to. They don't have to.
You know, if they want to avoid what happened last year.
That's the thing.
Which still ended up in a World Series title.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
avoid
one starting pitcher and you ended up winning a World Series.
Avoid what happened last year. They can. They can say, hey, we've got the deepest stable of pitching talent, and they may not be done. People still talking about Roki Sasaki and where he's going to go. We can add that to our conversation coming up as well. But they are absolutely well set at starting pitching going forward. Now, you said you're not going to complain or be mad at Major League Baseball.
No, and I'm not
for
mad
the Dodgers signing, or for the Dodgers for that matter.
Bro, it's a brilliant move. It's a brilliant move that I think will pay off for that team. There's no question. Now, the one thing it does do, and I think it's always been this way, but, anything less than a World Series victory is a failure, period. So that we can go into the season knowing that. I think they would tell you the same thing. Unless we win the World Series, this is a dramatic failure. It takes a lot of luck to win a World Series, as you know. Sometimes the team with the best players don't win the World Series. Sometimes the hottest teams don't win the World Series. We've seen all of that in the last few years. But I'm not mad at the Dodgers for doing it. I'm not mad at them deferring money. A lot of teams defer money. Manny Machado's contract was backloaded. The Dodgers have really done a good job at convincing their stars to do it. Mookie's at I think Mookie deferred 110, Freddie Freeman 100 plus.
And Blake Snell is reportedly deferring
$62
$62 million of this $182 million deal.
So inherently, I guess I'm not mad at the Padres, right? I'm not mad at the Padres for not going out and getting Blake Snell. But we know for a fact that he was interested in returning here. And I don't know that they had a conversation with Scott Boras. It's a fact. We know that. That's a fact. He was interested in returning here. The thing that scares me a little bit is that you let him go to the Dodgers, knowing he wanted to come back here. Again, don't know if an offer was made, if a conversation was even had, but you let him go to the Dodgers. So that's a bummer. That's a bummer.
Well, that brings me to my point and why I can polish this turd like I can do pretty much any other any other turd out there. But the Dodgers are going to make the playoffs. They
Yes.
have every year. They're going to again this year. You kind of touched on it. Getting to the playoffs and winning the World Series. Winning the World Series. Baseball's just inherent randomness. The fact that, the Pittsburgh Pirates can beat the Dodgers in a short series always gives every team a chance once you get to the postseason. So essentially, in my mind, Blake Snell going to any other team, like staying with the Giants, is actually worse. The Dodgers didn't get more. They're not more of a playoff contender today than they were yesterday. They're at 100%. Essentially, what they were yesterday. They have not eaten up any of those playoff possibilities. They were going to be one of the 7 playoff teams in the National League, or 6 playoff teams in the National League next year. That still is true today. Nothing has changed. Padres need to get one of those other 5 spots, essentially one of the 3 probably wild card positions. And no one has hurt the Padres at all in their opportunity. In fact, the Dodgers helped the Padres in the wild card race by eating up one of the free agents that could have been going to one of the teams they're actually competing against for a playoff spot in the National League next year. And that's not the Dodgers. That's just the reality of it. I would love to say that the Padres can compete for a division title, but they're in the same boat that just about everybody else is. If you were in a division with the Dodgers, I don't care how much right now you're spending, you're not really competing with the Dodgers.
No, you got to make the
competing for a
playoffs.
wild card spot and then hoping to get on a run in October and let the baseball, the baseball quirkiness do its thing in October. That's the path. It's been the path for the last few years. It will remain the path going forward for the San Diego Padres. So you're actually competing against everybody but the Dodgers in the National League right now.
Yeah, pretty much, and which is fine. Again, it doesn't matter to me. They always get good players. They always sign premier free agents. They do a good job at making at overcoming injury. Right, we all know that, but you can't. You have to get extremely lucky to win a World Series. You do, and once you get in, you didn't expect 24 straight innings of no runs for the Padres last year. Bad luck. Right? There's bad luck. There's good luck. You don't expect Aaron Judge to drop a can of corn. You don't expect Anthony Rizzo to not go after a ground ball and Garrett Cole not to cover first base. You got to get lucky to win a World Series, and they did. And it does not take one thing away from them. They gutted it out. They gutted it out so well. And you had guys stepping up all over the place. Blake Trinan comes to mind. Walker Buehler comes to mind. Tip my hat. I always will. You dream of that if you're a fan. That being said, man, there's no reason that you can't beat them in a series in October. None whatsoever.
Of course.
Absolutely no reason. So my thing is to the Padres, you better not let this momentum slip through your fingers this year. And the momentum, I mean, isn't the momentum of, we won the game. It means a city and a fan base that's on fire for your team, wanting you to go out and play your best and play your hardest, like you did against that team all through the regular season. And in the playoffs, you got beat, man. Yu Darvish gave up. I was talking to Bo about it the other day. I said, buddy, this game will eat you alive. Yu Darvish threw, call it 100 pitches that night. Hung 2 sliders. Loses 2-0.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Siri, I wasn't asking you anything. I don't understand either, Siri. Throws 2 bad pitches, and you're done. Season's over. And it's the way that game goes. So, man, my challenge is to the front office of the Padres to keep this thing going. Keep it going. Figure it out.
Yeah, you are competing. The teams that I'm worried about are the Diamondbacks and the Giants and the Mets and, the Reds. Those are the teams that you're fighting against to make sure you get into that tournament at the end of the year. The Padres need to do some things to make sure that they stay at the top of the list of those teams. It's a fool's errand to try to chase down the Dodgers right now. You're never going to outspend them. Right now you're not going to outsmart them at this point either. So all you can do is make sure that you stay ahead of that second group of teams in the National League, get one of those wild card spots, and do what you have done. I mean, the Padres have won every wild card series they've played in, all 3 of them, had a chance to go forward, beat the Dodgers in the playoffs once, and had them on the ropes on the verge of elimination this time. No one's had more success, really, against the Dodgers than the Padres have.
Pretty much.
But it's not going to happen in the regular season. Not going to chase them down. Don't even try. Just make sure you stay ahead of these other teams.
Yeah, make sure you stay ahead of the other teams. Make sure you keep the momentum of the fan base going. Make sure that you don't throw in the towel. And listen, with the people in charge down there, I'm not too worried about it. I know they are committed to putting the best team on the field. That being said, you have to do it. You have to do it.
One of Blake Snell's greatest skills is actually completely eliminated when he goes to the Dodgers, and that is the fact that he is one of the best pitchers against the Dodgers that we've seen in recent memory. He's got a career 2.62 ERA against the Dodgers. That goes down to 2.35 in the playoffs. Now, the Dodgers are going, well, we now no longer have to face Blake Snell. You don't know that you ever were going to face Blake Snell in the postseason or an important game. I mean, there's no important regular season games for the Dodgers. They could care less. You don't know that you were going to face him in the postseason. But Blake is no longer going to be that Dodger killer, that pitches so well against the Dodgers. I'm not saying that that's a benefit, but that is certainly one of the things that has made him such a unique commodity in baseball. That he does shut down that team, that lineup. He has done it consistently over the last few years.
The interesting thing, and we haven't touched on it yet, but good for baseball, bad for baseball. If you're an owner of a baseball team right now, what I will say is this: the one thing that makes it tough for me is that you're not going to see today, and the offseason's not even close to over. So you're talking about a team, and I've talked to a source this morning that said they're not done. They're still adding bats. So think Willie Adames, maybe. Think Juan Soto, if you want to let your mind.
I mean, they made an offer to Juan Soto. They're not pulling it because they signed Blake Snell.
Correct.
I don't know that they're going to get him, but they're still in on the Juan Soto sweepstakes.
So the thing that is sticking with me is this. What you're not going to see today, and you're not going to see, let's call it even in February, Ben, if they're done, when the offseason's over and they've added 5-6 pieces, whatever, and spent a ton of money, you're not going to see Jeff Passan write a long piece about how this isn't sustainable. You're not going to see Bob Nightingale, John Heyman, the usual suspects, write those long pieces about how this is not sustainable. Because at the end of the day, and this is the cold, hard truth, it is massively and absolutely sustainable for the Dodgers. The Dodgers start every season plus 350 in the black immediately. Is that fair? No. But is life fair? No, it's not. It's not fair. Nobody's had a fair life, right? Is your life fair? No. Is mine? No. Some things, yes. Some things, no. Things happen. That inherently is the problem with baseball. The playing field isn't necessarily level because, again, plus 350. Here's $350 million check. Do with it what you will. The Dodgers have chosen to invest in their team and spend the money.
They'd be a horrible franchise if they didn't.
They'd be the worst franchise ever.
You realize that, right?
Yeah.
If the Dodgers simply said, hey, we just won another World Series.
Let's kick back a little bit.
Let's just keep all that money and not reinvest in our team. That would make the Dodgers awful if they did that. The Dodgers are doing the right thing by investing their money. But I agree with you 100%. No one ever questions and says the Atlanta Falcons or the Houston Texans is unsustainable.
Correct.
Because that's not how the model works in the NFL. In baseball, you have a model where the Dodgers can spend whatever they want, and no one's going to say anything. But when the Padres do it, Major League Baseball comes down hard with debt service rules and pressure on the team to stop spending. It's not a level playing field between two different teams that are operating essentially under two different set of rules. The Dodgers will never be in debt compliance issues because, well, they're the Dodgers and they have giant TV money. Yet the Padres are and, have to have their hands handcuffed by Major League Baseball. And you're not doing that to other teams. So that's inherently unfair.
Well, and I think, you can't look at the whole thing without bringing up, they were bailed out by Major League Baseball just 20 years ago. Bailed out. With the Frank McCourt stuff, the Dodgers were bailed out by Major League Baseball. Other teams have to kind of fight and scratch and claw and get creative on how they do things, and the Padres are one of those teams. But I'll tell you this, man, if you do beat them, it makes it that much sweeter. I mean, there's nothing better than beating Goliath. Nothing. There's absolutely nothing. And you're right, man. A couple years ago, the Padres decided to spend money, and all you heard was, is this sustainable? Is this sustainable? And you're not going to see that with the Dodgers. They're owned by this conglomerate that is like a market cap of $300 billion. These checks are not going to be tough for them to write when the Piper comes calling in 10 years. It's just, they're not. And there needs to be something done about that. I just don't know what it is. People say salary cap. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't think any player in his right mind is going to go, yeah, cap my earnings. Sounds good to me. Who signs up for that?
Again, I think the only way to do it is you make it so lucrative for current players. Like, yeah, there's going to be a cap, but
it's already lucrative for current players.
Well, I know, but your salaries are going to go way up now because in 7 or 8 years there's going to be more of a cap, and you're going to have to pass that pain, a little bit of pain, off to the future generations if you're ever going to make that happen.
Yep.
But you're not just going to say, "Oh yeah, we'll just do a cap right now."
We can take calls on this too. I'm interested to hear. We'll talk Aztecs for sure.
I also want to talk about how this could impact the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes in the offseason, which the Dodgers are still very much a part of. We'll get to all of that. Some Aztecs talk and take on Woods in hour number 2. Ben and Woods at 97.3 The Fan. Dodgers signed Blake Snell. 5 years, no opt-outs as well in that deal. That's a little bit of a different turn from what we've seen in a lot of these contracts recently. But this is, probably the last major stop in his career. So I don't know. Is Blake Snell on the way to the Hall of Fame? 2-time Cy Young Award winner.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not sure that he's going to have he'll be, he was a Ray for a while and then a Padre for a good significant portion of his career, winning a Cy Young, and now whatever he does with the Dodgers, he's going to have 3 true teams, like one of those guys that doesn't have an obvious cap if he goes into the Hall of Fame.
I don't care about his Hall of Fame decisions. I want to talk about why this is bad for baseball, why this is good for baseball, what your thoughts are on that. I know that you feel this morning when you wake up, you go, oh, here we go again. And, it's hard because we obviously cover the Padres, and the Padres have spent money. The Padres do spend money, yes? So it's tough to look at our team specifically and be like, hey, you know how I feel. It's great, spend more. Spend more. Go get better players.
There's plenty of other fan bases around the league who say the Padres are bad for baseball.
That's exactly right. And plenty of national writers and everything else.
Correct.
I mean, it was a huge deal when Peter Seidler decided to come out and spend a lot of money. A massive, massive deal.
We've got callers on the line. If you've got some thoughts, you can join us. 833-288-0973. I do want to read this tweet from our friend Emily Nyman.
Love her.
Summed it up pretty well. She said, it's funny watching people get mad at teams who keep the bleeping lights on in this league because they have great staff, process, and use of resources. MLB, quote, taking action to favor J-off organizations that trade away or waste all 6 years of control they have over elite players isn't better for the sport. Teams have 6 years of control over players they draft. They should also get elite players for cheap on free agency. Get real. A minuscule percentage of players reach free agency and are good enough to get huge contracts, and only a few teams take the risk of signing those contracts. Grow up.
Boy, and it is a risk. I mean, it is absolutely a risk. Frankie, you're a Met fan. I grew up a Yankee fan. Benny, you grew up a Padre fan. In this new era of Padres baseball spending money, it is a massive, massive risk. We have made poor signings here in San Diego. We have made 100%.
The difference is
you can absorb it.
It does not come back to haunt the Dodgers.
Nope.
It does come back to haunt most other organizations.
Correct.
When they make even 1 or 2 bad free agent signings.
And again, it's not because, their fan base is so robust and they fill the stadium. We do that here. We do it here. We buy merch. My wife alone could buy a free agent with what she spends in merch for that team. Okay? It's the plus 350. And it's the fact, too, that somehow, some way, you were able to convince a $700 million player to play for pennies on the dollar for 10 years. And again, Shohei's reasoning for this was, I want you guys to be able to add more pieces. Here you go. There you go. There's one right there in Blake Snell. The Shohei Ohtani effect is great. And that's what it did. It allowed them to go out and get Blake Snell. So that voodoo magic, I don't know. I don't know who's the next guy that's going to come along and be like, you know what? I don't need it now. I'm good. I'll make my money and endorse. I mean, it's a very savvy decision. I do
think baseball could fix the deferred element of salaries.
Somebody said in the chat too, because a lot of the Padres have deferred money. A lot of teams do. Do you look at backloaded contracts as the same thing as deferred money? Isn't it?
They essentially
It
essentially
same thing?
is. It's just a matter of timing. Like, are you deferring it during the course of the contract or after the contract is already over?
I do feel, again, I mean, there's tax implications and things that go along. It's smart. It's creative. That's what a GM needs to be.
The Dodgers don't ever have to worry about, in 15 years, are we going to have enough money to pay these deferred salaries? They don't have to worry about it. Other organizations are going to think twice, 3 times before they commit that kind of money to very future years that they can't even project that far out. They've got no idea if they're going to be on solid financial footing compared to the rest of the league.
Yeah.
I want to get to some of these phone calls. 833-288-0973. Charlie called in first up in Ramona. Charlie, good morning. Welcome to Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you guys doing today?
Good, buddy. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. I mean, I am a little mad that I woke up to the news of Blake Snell.
Yep.
And I completely agree with you guys. I think it's absolutely not fair, and I think it's bad for baseball to have these monopolies that can nip, because they can basically sign anyone they want with no consequence, while the rest of the league is bottom feeders, essentially waiting for the whale carcass to sink.
I like that.
I don't know how we'd go about handling it, but I mean, a salary cap would be great. But how about revenue sharing? The NFL does it.
Well, they do it. They do
There is some revenue sharing in baseball.
Okay, so I'm not going to go on that.
Well, they do it, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the issue, man, and it sucks because, like I said, we are a team that actually spends money, puts money onto the field in good players. We trade for good players, et cetera, et cetera. So, not that the Padres do everything right; they certainly don't. But you have teams that are getting revenue sharing checks and going, great, thanks. Like a bonus. Just put it right in my bank and start collecting interest on it. That's what really needs to be fixed. The other owners in baseball need to be held accountable, and they need to be held to the standard of, I'm going to make money, but I'm going to spend money as well.
I do hope that, and we talked about it earlier this week with the potential future national TV deals, that they go more to a model where TV money is split a little more evenly among the teams. And the teams that do well, like pack their ballpark and sell tons of merch, they get to keep more of that money. The Dodgers will still keep a ton of money. They have a lot of fans. They sell a lot of merch as well. Saw a few blue hats when I was up there in Los Angeles, during the playoffs. So they sell merch as well. So they'll do fine. It's just that there's nothing the Padres, they could be the smartest organization in the world. They're never going to get a $350 million TV contract per year.
Correct.
It's just not going to happen.
No one's going to give that to them.
There's no way you can smart yourself into an even playing field with the Dodgers when you're letting them start out that far ahead of everybody else financially because of their TV deal. I think that's, to me, the one thing that needs to be fixed. And whether it doesn't have to be a salary cap or, in terms of that, but there has to be more sharing of the TV revenue money among the teams. And then, because if I'm a big market team, I don't simply want the Pittsburgh Pirates to pocket that money. They also have to be forced to then spend it on their players.
Well, Johnny says in the chat, man, this is what's unfair. He says, the Padres can compete if we defer money too, but we won't. So here's the problem, Johnny. Let's say that the Padres wanted to go out today and they convinced Corbin Burns, Juan Soto, who else is hot out there that you'd like on your team? Pick one. Anybody. Max Fried. Those three guys.
Willie Adames.
And you bring them, and we don't need them.
We don't. Well, us,
actually, yeah. So you bring those three guys in, you sit them in a room. You guys are the future of Padres baseball. Will you all take deferred money? They go, hell yeah, we'll take deferred money. I want $150 million, and I want it in 2030. And then Burns says, yeah, give me 220, but I'll take 200 of it in 2033. Major League Baseball that day walks in and says, absolutely not.
Yes.
There's no effing way you guys are going to do this, right? There's no way.
We don't think that is financially responsible of you to do that.
You will not be a franchise in 2030 if you do this. You're going to have to sell the team. You're going to have to fold the team. That's the inherent problem in baseball. I guess, every team can't have a Guggenheim that owns them with a market cap of what they have. So you have to figure out how to work within the constraints that you have. And it's unfortunate, certainly, but it is what it is. There's really no way to change it.
One thing I'm not going to do, and in response to this signing, and Chris in our YouTube chat says this feels like when Kevin Brown signed with the Dodgers in 1999. Kevin Brown, it didn't work out well for the Dodgers. That contract was a pretty bad deal for the Dodgers. I'm not going to cheer against Blake Snell. I mean, yeah, I don't want him to do well when he's playing the Padres, but I don't wish ill on Blake Snell.
Bro, after what
he made a good decision for himself,
no question,
and his family here. Yep. I have no ill will toward Blake Snell.
I want him torched when we play him.
Of course.
I don't want Mud and Don to interview him. That is something I will get on record.
I also agree with that.
Let's not go pack,
Blake Snell's not a bad person because he signed he signed with the Dodgers. There's absolutely nothing about that makes me not like Blake Snell any less than I liked him before. I still like Blake Snell as a person. Yep. He absolutely made a very smart career decision by signing a huge deal with a good organization.
Yep.
That's all he did yesterday.
Yep.
Let's take some more calls.
Yeah,
we
let's
can
do
always
it.
push back, take on Woods. We got a bunch of calls on the line. Let's go to Jake. You're next up here on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Jake.
Hi, good morning, guys. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah, we're okay.
Hanging in. I mean, we're happy for the content. It's not the content we wanted to be talking about, but we got it.
Yeah, no, I saw that last night, and I texted my buddy's group chat who's like the biggest Dodgers fan. I was like, there's no way they got another guy like this on that type of contract.
Wait, you're going to have that chat at least 2 more times this offseason.
At least
as well.
2 more times this offseason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to it. But
No.
I was calling because I first agree with you, Woodsy, what you're saying earlier about like they need to do something, but just not sure what it is. But I was going to mostly look on like, I believe it was Dennis Lin that said that the Padres are already over their luxury tax. Was that him?
They're
Yeah,
either they're very
close.
close or just over it, just under it. It just depends. They don't calculate next year's luxury tax until the end of the season. But if they sign everybody to what they kind of expect them to be worth in arbitration, then yes, they are already pushing that number for 2025.
Yeah, so I was thinking, like, if they're already close to that or maybe already over that, then why not, like, already go over it and spend more to go get guys? Like,
Yeah.
instead of maybe trying to trade away guys to lower it. Like, if they're already close to it or over it, why not keep spending and go get more guys to go have another run in the playoffs like we did, but this time, go and win it.
That's exactly right, man. And listen, that's the Woods method of running a team. I would never profit off of my baseball team, ever. I would be the Steve Cohen type, right? But you're talking about our whole country runs in a deficit at all times. At all times. It can be done. You need to be creative. You've got to figure it out, but they can go over. They reset it for this reason.
They did.
And the penalties are not huge. Dodgers penalties are going to be massive this year, but again, they don't care. They can absorb it.
The worst thing you can do, and this comes just from a pure logical standpoint, is go over by like $3 or $4 million.
Yeah, if you're going to go, bro, it's like staying out late past curfew when you're a kid. My curfew was 11. If I came home at 11:15, I got my ass chewed. I'm coming home at 2. If it's 11:15 and I'm like, well, I'm already in trouble. Well, I'm going to stay out and see what else I can get into. If you're going to do it, do it. Right?
And there is an argument for doing it. We talked about that last week. The argument for spending a little more money, making sure that you're in the playoffs. Now, I just said, and I'll stand by it, don't try to chase down the Dodgers.
No,
and,
do
not.
That's a fool's errand.
That's a fool's errand. But make sure you make it to the playoffs.
100%.
And if that requires going into the luxury tax to make sure you do that, another bad strategy. I just said a bad strategy is going over by $4 million. Another bad strategy is going under by $1 million,
right,
but not making the playoffs.
Correct.
That doesn't help you either, because you've just spent a ton of money and you didn't get anything for it.
It will never cease to amaze me how many fans out there root for their favorite team's bottom line. Oh, God, we saved so much money this offseason. It will never, never cease to amaze me.
Adam Klug comes in at least twice a month and goes, well, if you could attach a prospect to Xander Bogaerts and get them to take Xander's contract, then what? Then yeah, your bottom line is healthier for your organization.
Congratulations.
How does that make your team better, though? It doesn't. It actually makes it worse in 2 ways. You gave up a prospect, and even though Xander's overpaid, you gave up Xander. He's a better player than a lot of other guys in baseball.
You probably ate a buttload of money to do it as well.
And then you're going to go out and sign someone who's now more expensive than Xander, because players just keep getting more expensive. Why do you want to do that?
I can't cheer for balance sheets. It's not in me to cheer for. I don't cheer for Odyssey's balance sheet. I don't cheer for the Padres' balance sheet. I don't go into Michael's office and go, yeah, let's renegotiate a contract. How much money can I save you next year? No, I walk into his office and go, I want to be paid, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this. That's how it works. I don't care what Odyssey's bottom line is. I care about my bottom line, right? That's it.
We want to work here. I don't know how long you want to work here, but I'd be
5 more years.
I'd be happy here for another 20 years. Make as much money as we can, and the day we walk out of the door, this place goes bankrupt.
Right. It's just not going to affect me. Like, it just, I don't understand this Man, we're so like that must be the life of a Rays fan. They're just like, woo! We won 87 games. We only spent $14 to do it. What if you spent $80? You could have won 97 games. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. It never will.
All right, we'll take a timeout. We will get back to this. I do want to get to Don't Do This. Woods has got some things on his mind.
Oh, it was hot yesterday. And it's about this business of ours. It really rubs me the wrong way sometimes.
Get to that coming up next after a check of traffic here with Kelly on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, here we go. Black 17 on. That is mind blowing. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Not tweet that.
With Ben and Woods
I like a Nickelback song or two.
on 97.3 The Fan.
Now, we'll get back to the Blake Snell to the Dodgers talk in a little bit. But first, don't do this, and I will kick off our segment this morning with an update on a fairly large DDT story we brought you back in September. Remember when Miami Dolphins star wide receiver Tyreek Hill was pulled over on his way to the game at Hard Rock Stadium by Miami-Dade police. Video of him being pulled out of his car for allegedly speeding, and he was cited for careless driving and failure to wear a seatbelt. Incident went viral. Obviously, Tyreek Hill had his side of the story. The officers were placed on, I believe, administrative duties while an investigation was commenced. I don't know if they've ever really released any results of that investigation. In fact, they haven't. But yesterday was the day that Hill was scheduled to appear in court on those traffic charges. But the officers did not show, which means case dismissed.
Never happened to me. I
was wondering, do we have any, I know we have officers in our Tier 1 audience, CHP officers. When you write a ticket for someone, speeding.
I thought it was an old wives' tale that you had to show up.
So do you actually, if you don't show up to court that day, how do you know? Are you not, how do you know whether you're supposed to go out and patrol the streets or I have to go to court today because someone's actually going? Because a lot of people obviously just do traffic school or pay the fine, and that's pleading guilty essentially, and then the officers don't go to court. But if you plead not guilty, you have to show up in court that day. And if the officer doesn't show up, if they're sick,
case dismissed,
they had to do something else, then all of a sudden you just get off scot-free, and it's like it never happened. Is that really how it works?
I have heard that. I mean, it's obviously something I've heard for many, many years. Have you ever fought a ticket?
I've never fought. I mean, I haven't gotten a ticket in a long time, but how do you fight a ticket? If you say, the officer goes, I clocked you going 82 in a 65 zone.
Wasn't me.
And you go and goes, I say I wasn't. It's like, well, it's your word against my word. I feel like the judge and the jury, I don't know if there's a jury. I don't think in traffic court there's juries, but assume the judge usually sides with the officer in those cases.
This case obviously is a little bit different. Adam says in the chat, it's not. An officer for my ticket about 6 years ago didn't show and it was tossed. I think then...
How do you know if the officer is going to show or not?
You don't.
You don't.
You fight it, and if he does show up, you end up paying the fine anyway. I just pay the fine to get rid of it. Go to traffic school and call it a day. That's what I do. All right, this next one is...
Well, anyway, I guess Tyreek Hill is... free to go. His attorneys released a statement. They said, as anticipated, the traffic citations against Tyreek Hill were dismissed. Police officers should not issue citations unless they're willing to testify in court. Not only did they get off, but he then took the officers to task and saying, hey, their absence from court evidences their knowledge of wrongdoing. These officers should be disciplined for their failure to appear. I would praise them. I'd go, thank you for not showing up to my case. He wants them disciplined for not showing up. And, testifying on their own behalf.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, all right, so this one is it's kind of a combo. It starts out as a doo-doo this.
DD mega doo-doo.
But it quickly devolved, thanks to shock jock friend of Adam Klug's, Sean Marash, who is a producer in New York. Let me play you the really touching, beautiful audio, in my opinion, of Philadelphia Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham. Goes in for a live in-person interview with the morning show there at the radio station WIP in Philly. And he sits down with the hosts, and he has a season-ending injury. Philly is a Super Bowl contender, and he's going to miss it. And listen to how vulnerable and honest Brandon Graham is.
Well, you know what? Hold on. I'm trying to keep it in. And I know I needed it, but boy, I just love what we've been building, and I just don't want to. I know I ain't letting nobody down as far as getting hurt and stuff, because I know I'm gonna bring that energy.
Brandon, let me jump in for 1 second. You're not letting anybody down. You're not letting the city down. Your teammates.
I know. I'm just
nobody.
Saying, I'm not let it cross your mind. I got you. Because I promise you, I'm just more hurt of just on how we've been coming every week, trying to defy, the odds and being with it, but being with them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be with him. I'm still with him. You know what I'm saying? I know that. But, yeah, man, I just needed this right here. I needed to get this out. It's been a while since I cried, man.
Oh, man, it touches your soul, right? That's a vulnerable human being that has played a long time in the NFL, is going to miss out on his seasons.
The only thing we
run.
want as fans is for the athletes to care as much or more than we do, right?
How do you look at that?
That's a sign that this guy cares about more than just money and more than just being a pro athlete. He actually cares. That's a great thing.
And I get it, man. Rivalries are real, but I'll tell you, man. I'm watching. I hated that grand slam by Freddie Freeman so much in the World Series, but when he goes to the podium and he's talking about his old man, I was a wreck, sobbing wreck, watching that. Because I've got a father and I've got a son, and you're a human being. And so Sean Mraz, we all remember Mraz. What do they call him? They call him Mraz.
Mraz, that's what they used to call him.
Remember
just because
him?
It sounded like Mirage.
Remember him ripping Padres fans and Aztec fans for going to the Padres game instead of watching the Aztecs game, even though they showed the Aztecs game at the Padres game. The timing of it was perfect. The game ended. The Padres game started. He would lit up the entire city of San Diego. And so he tweets after this amazing video comes out. He says, "What a loser. Get a grip, heal up, and suck it up." And I just quote tweeted, I said, I hate this effing business so much sometimes. That type of shock jock bit makes me nuts.
I get people trying to create, engagement, content, whatever. But the people who agree with that statement, do you want those people to be your fans? No, really? Those are the people that you're hoping to appeal to?
I can't do it, man.
I don't get it.
I can't do it.
I got one more, actually, for you here. Forgot to bring this up. I don't know. I guess this is a do this. Did you see the story of Paul Bissonnette?
Oh, my God. Did I ever? Holy smokes. I listened to some of the audio. Did you listen to some of the podcasts
I did not hear any of the audio.
So Paul Bissonnette was an NHL.
He's a former Arizona Coyotes player, podcaster, now an NHL analyst, and lives in Scottsdale, has a favorite restaurant that he goes to often in the area. Houston's a pretty good spot. Chain restaurant, pretty good. And he said while he was there were 6 adult guys, golfers on a golf trip or whatever, and then getting a little rowdy and out of hand and drunk, and he decided essentially that he was going to make sure that didn't happen again, and ended up taking them on out in the parking lot, 1-on-6.
Well, so here's exactly.
So what do you have on this?
So he's sitting there. He says he goes to Houston 3 or 4 times a week, and it's his favorite place. Goes in, has a meal. And he usually sits in the bar area. Bar area was packed. There was a big tournament in town, and all these lunatics came in for a golf trip. And there's 6 guys in the bar, and they're hammered. And they're being abusive to the staff.
Oh, yeah, the manager asked him to leave.
You guys are cut off. No more booze, okay? And one of them gets in the manager's face. Well, Bissonnette sees this. He's like, no, that's not going to fly. So walks up and says, sir, puts his hand on him, sir, if you continue with this course of action, we're going to have a problem. Next thing you know, punch from behind. It goes out into the parking lot. I loved his quote. He said, I took some, but I gave some. And I went, man, there's not a scratch on him, by the way. And not a scratch.
I saw the mug shots of the 6 guys.
They got tuned up.
They had some scratches.
They got tuned up real good. And it's not a fair 6-on-1 former NHL enforcer. It's still not a fair fight. You need 10 more guys.
It's good training. It's good training to be an NHL enforcer if you ever have to take on a crowd of guys at Houston.
Holy smokes, dude. And these guys, now, and there's the mug shots of these guys. And, of course, Bissonnette works for Barstool. So now Barstool's going to make it their entire personality for the next week to ruin these dudes' entire lives. These guys are toast. They're toast.
You know who loves Houston's? Tony Gwynn Jr. Went there for his birthday when they were up in Pasadena.
Is that right?
It was during the playoffs, and he said, oh, yeah, I'm going to Houston's for my birthday. Been looking forward to this for a long time.
I'm a big fan, too. They had one in Dallas. We used to go there for lunch all the time. Delicious. But good for him, man, sticking up for the staff. If you're rude and abusive to the staff of a restaurant, doesn't matter. The golf and alcohol combo sometimes is not the best.
And that's don't and do this for a Wednesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we'll talk more about Blake Snell coming up. I do want to discuss the Aztecs' big win yesterday over Creighton in the opening game of the Players Era Festival in Las Vegas. And
how about those Huskies, too?
How about those Huskies as well? We will talk about it all when we come back with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I know college basketball has not generally been your thing until March Madness rolls around.
Well, I'm in now.
But I will say this week, last couple of days, they call it Feast Week, at least on ESPN, with all the non-conference tournaments, the multi-team events, and far-flung locations from the Bahamas all the way to Maui. There's been some really good basketball this week. I mean,
who won the Duke game last night? I was watching and I fell asleep.
Duke did not win.
Kansas won.
Kansas won.
Wow.
Even though they lost, Hunter Dickinson was ejected for a flagrant 2 foul for kicking one of the Duke players in the face.
Bro.
And when you say kick a guy in the face, I mean, he didn't roundhouse
him.
Yeah, like an MMA fight. They were both on the ground, head to one's head on the other side, and he kind of kicked and landed one on the face. You'll probably never know what the intent was on the kick, but he definitely kicked him in the face, and they kicked him out of the game for it.
Bro, it looked pretty intentional. I'll say that right now.
But that game was fantastic. The Alabama-Houston game was fantastic, and the Players Era Festival that San Diego State is playing in, they might play one of those teams coming up in the championship game on Saturday if they can get past Oregon this afternoon in the second game of the tournament. And I bring that up. Well, I want to talk about San Diego State's win over Creighton. We've got a bit of a pre-holiday schedule here today on 97.3 The Fan. After our program, Craig Elston and Braden will be in. I believe Annie is still under the weather. She wanted to come in yesterday, but Adam did the old, if you still got some sniffles, don't come in and get everyone sick. So I think they're just going to have
It's weird. He never says that to me.
Annie stay out until Monday.
Hey,
and then Gwen and Chris are off today. Chris is in Cancun with the Lady Aztecs. They have their multi-team tournament.
What a gig.
Nice gig if you can get it. Go call some women's college basketball in Cancun. So you may or may not be listening to the replay of the Ben and Woods program right now. The only problem is we're about to talk about the Aztecs' win over Creighton.
Oh, no.
If it's the afternoon show, their game against Oregon will already be over.
What time's that game?
That's at 1 this afternoon.
Oh, perfect day setting up.
Now, I have to go do television, but Adam would probably love it. Can you come back just for the one segment this afternoon to update our conversation on San Diego State basketball?
Absolutely not. 0% chance. 0%.
So we're going to check traffic. When we come back, it'll either be Ben and Woods talking live about a win over Creighton or just Woods returning.
It will not be. I'll tell you right now, it will not. You will not hear me.
Talk about
you
the
will
game
not
against
hear me.
Oregon.
Nope.
Depending on what time it is right now on 97.3 The Fan. Aztecs took the court yesterday for the first time since their loss to Gonzaga. Not a bad loss to the number 3 team in the country by any stretch of the imagination, but just really still didn't have an idea of what this Aztecs team was capable of yet. And I do believe that yesterday we saw a bit more of the ceiling potential for San Diego State as they outperformed number 21 Creighton in pretty much every facet of that game yesterday, pulling away in the second half for a 71-53 win. Now, I understand Creighton was missing one of their better players, maybe their best player, Stephen Ashworth, their starting point guard, veteran senior who, runs the floor for them and is really good. But no one mentioned the fact that the Aztecs also are missing one of their best players, the guy who runs the floor for them, their most veteran player in Reese Waters, who hasn't even taken the floor yet for San Diego State this season. So to me, that just offsets. And you got SDSU and Creighton's rest of the teams going up against each other, and that comparison went heavily towards San Diego State. They did an outstanding job against Ryan Kalkbrenner, the 7-1 center.
Phenomenal.
For Creighton. Held him to just 2 points in the first half by doing the old front him and back him.
They did.
They could not either get the ball to him or get him in the position they wanted him to get to. It was a masterful job by a defensive master in Brian Dutcher and his team.
He's a guy that when he's on the floor, you look at Kalkbrenner and you go, okay, yeah, he's got a lot of size and he looks really quick and good with the ball. You could see, Ben, about, 6 minutes in, visible frustration. They tried and tried. Now,
he had an amygdala attack.
He did.
Did you see it?
Yes,
I saw the
100%.
amygdala attack that Jim Brogan told us about yesterday. When you hang your head and you see you got to someone.
Yep.
He told us yesterday, that is a lingering effect. Like 10, 15 minutes or so. You're not going to be at your best when you let another team get to you like the Aztecs got to Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Now, offensively, we didn't do anything really. 12 points, I think total. 11. Didn't score.
A little better second half.
But in the first half, defensively though, is where you see what a force he can be under there. He swatted a bunch of shots early.
He's long. He's got length. But the Aztecs blocked 9 shots.
Dude, Magoon with some huge blocks yesterday. What a game. It was never really, you didn't feel like you didn't sweat that game very much.
Creighton's a good offensive team. They put up a lot of points, and maybe not as good as Gonzaga, but really good. Always are really good. You held them to 53 points. And at some point, you could tell Creighton was just flustered by San Diego State.
They look sleepy, man.
But that's a really good performance that I think is going to look better as the season goes on.
Yep.
Doug McDermott, their coach, he's going to get those guys playing well. So by the end of the season, that's going to look like it's a good win now. It's going to look like a really good win for the Aztecs. But what I was really impressed by, and what we haven't always seen, in fact, rarely do see from San Diego State, didn't even see it last year, somewhat with the Final Four team, but you don't know where the scoring is coming from. And that's a good thing. Sometimes you don't know where the scoring is coming from at San Diego State because it's not coming from anybody.
Yeah.
Feels like all the guys out on the floor can score.
Yep.
And I don't remember the last time you could say that about a San Diego State team. B.J. Davis had a career-high 18 points. Miles Bird, when he got hot, 16, he can shoot the three. Yep. He can drive to the hoop. You didn't hear much from Nick Boyd in the game yesterday. I almost forgot about him. I realized, wait, he can score when he wants to as well. Magoon hit, a couple of shots. I think offensively he's still got some development to do. But the Aztecs have players on the floor who can score the basketball. Jared Coleman-Jones hit like a big three. Everybody on that floor is dangerous with the basketball, and that is very difficult for opposing teams to handle and very exciting if you're a San Diego State fan.
And everybody on that team plays intense defense, and they don't give up on plays.
It's a requirement.
Of course. And they chase loose balls, and they go after balls that are going out of bounds. I mean, they really played. They expended a lot of energy yesterday, but that's their brand of basketball, man. And again, they are an inspiring team to watch, and I hope that they can handle business today. That would be a huge win.
Watching the game on TBS, I was very impressed by Candace Parker.
Yeah, she was great.
The analyst for the game. I think she is going to be a star in broadcasting.
Did she do back-to-back games?
Yeah, they did. She did the
okay.
2 morning games, and they had a different crew
right.
for the afternoon and evening sessions. I would imagine she'd be on the game again today because it's another early start, 1 o'clock this time. I think that moves over from TBS to TNT and Max today. But I thought she was outstanding as a broadcaster and one of the real rising stars in the business. I thought she was terrific. I also enjoyed Frank Caliendo's
his little
sideline.
appearance.
Now, he's a Creighton fan, apparently. I did not know that. And they had the sideline reporter go over and do an extended interview, and he started doing his Charles Barkley talking to Shaq impressions and how he keeps it in his head, like whose voice he's doing at any given moment.
It's almost when she starts throwing names out. He's like, oh yeah, Charles Barkley. I'm like, all right, yeah. It makes me nervous because I'm afraid he's gonna
mess up,
butcher one.
It was very impromptu, but he was very talented, and I did enjoy that part of the broadcast as well. So today, they'll take on Oregon. The Ducks beat 20th ranked Texas A&M 80-70 in the second game. They're led by former Torrey Pines High School standout Stanford transfer Brandon Angel. Scored 16 points yesterday for Oregon, but this is definitely another winnable game for San Diego State, and a big one because the way this tournament is formatted. So the top 4 teams left. Every team is already supposed to get $1 million for their NIL fund.
Everybody gets $1 million.
But then the top 4 teams at the event get to split another $1 million, apparently. I don't know if it's like half of that goes to the winner. Then
it's $250 to the runner-up. I think I just saw this.
Did you see? Okay, so anyway, there's more money on the line, and if the Aztecs win today, they'll be guaranteed a big chunk of that NIL money in the Saturday's championship game, which could come against Alabama, who's the 9th-ranked team in the country. The team the Aztecs beat in the NCAA tournament as the number 1 seed a couple of years ago. Could get that rematch on Saturday, which would be very exciting. But you do have to get past Oregon, which is obviously a good Big Ten team, and it would be another quality win for San Diego State's resume if they can get that done today. I saw a lot of people saying, Oregon looks like they could be a upper quadrant Big Ten team. So this is another really good resume-building opportunity for San Diego State this afternoon.
Aztecs getting 3.5 points. Going to get 4 yesterday. Took that. Literally the easiest money I've made betting all season. That was never in question. I'm going to roll with them again.
Meanwhile, other good games, including a consolation game at the Maui Invitational that was on early yesterday with UConn trying to bounce back from that loss to Memphis and getting themselves in another dogfight, this time against Colorado. And so, I mean, you couldn't have even scripted this. It comes down to the end, and UConn is up by 1. And Colorado's got the basketball. Now, you remember we talked about it in Don't Do This yesterday when Danny Hurley lost his mind when his player got called for an over-the-back rebound in overtime in a tie game. He said, my guy's taller. He's going straight up. Yeah, he's behind the guy, but he didn't do anything wrong. That shouldn't be a call. He took the officials to task. I mean, he sounded like a petulant crybaby.
Yeah.
So almost the exact same situation, except this time the Colorado player was the one behind the UConn player who went up for the rebound on a 3-point attempt. And this time they didn't call the over the back on what looked like, it almost looked like a replay with different kids like staging the same rebound. And it didn't go Dan Hurley's way again. Of course, he was upset about it. Colorado got the basketball back, ended up banking in the winning shot to beat UConn for the second straight day they lose.
Crazy.
73-72.
Crazy. I mean, who would have thought that they would blow back-to-back games like that, man? So
now
he another one of those instances where the guy had to hold him back, and just not a good look for him.
Now remember though, UConn they're a March team. They've always lost games in the regular season. They barely made the NCAA tournament the year that remember that they beat the Aztecs in Orange County. The Kemba Walker. That team barely even made the tournament. They had to win the conference tournament just to get there. Last 2 years, teams weren't 1 seeds, to win the NCAA championship.
They weren't a 1 seed last year?
I don't think they were. Were they?
Are you sure they were?
Did they get to a 1 seed at the end?
I believe they did.
They always seem to finish stronger than they start. So I don't think early season losses are that big of a deal for UConn, but it was surprising to see the number 2 team in the country lose back-to-back close games like they did. And then we talked a little bit about the Kansas-Duke game. That one is in Las Vegas. So I was watching that game, and it was sponsored by a company called Terry's Chocolate. So that's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of Terry's Chocolate.
Nope.
They're sponsored the Terry's Chocolate Vegas Showdown.
Okay.
And I Google, all right, you got me. What's Terry's Chocolate? And I go and look, and I go, I think I have seen this before. They're the company that makes the chocolate oranges, where you take orange slices, but chocolate, and they combine the flavors of chocolate and orange together in one of what I think is the most unholy combinations imaginable. Chocolate and orange is an abomination that should never have taken place. And I thought there's a whole company that's just devoted to chocolate oranges.
Now, okay. So are they shaped like an orange?
They are shaped like an orange.
And they are orange flavored.
And they are orange flavored, but made out of chocolate.
You're absolutely right. I can't think of a word. If I have a sweet tooth, and nobody has a sweet tooth like me. I mean, nobody. When I get a hankering for something sweet, Benny, I would pass on that like you wouldn't believe.
I remember when, we'd get the box of C's candies.
Yeah.
And you'd accidentally grab one and you'd take it and it was the chocolate orange one. I would literally out of the trash because it just is the worst.
It's a terrible combo.
The worst combination. And I thought, am I crazy here?
I'm with you.
So I threw out the poll last night. I said, "Do you like the combination of chocolate and orange?" And all I can surmise is that 43% of you are not the same species of
No.
person that I am. Because the yeses ran 43%.
That's way too much.
Against
It should be
57% no.
It should be 6%.
I guess if there's a whole company called Terry's Chocolate devoted to chocolate oranges, there must be enough of you out there to keep them in business and sponsoring a college basketball tournament. I don't understand. I don't really like chocolate and fruit at all.
I was just going to say, let's go through the chocolate
fruit
covered
combos.
I don't like pineapple covered in chocolate.
no.
It's
No.
hideous.
Horrible.
I really don't like strawberries covered in
No.
chocolate. I mean, what's
Okay,
that? You don't have chocolate covered grapes?
Like a
watermelon?
flourless chocolate cake with a raspberry sauce, I can do. It's fine.
Even that, I'm still kind of over it. Fruit and chocolate don't mix, in my opinion.
To me, you either have a chocolate dessert
Or a fruit
dessert.
Fruit
Both.
desserts, delicious.
Delicious. Chocolate fruit desserts?
Repugnant.
Oh.
It's absolutely
We're
repugnant.
rarely on
We're
the same
rarely
page
on the same
on
page,
these
especially as it pertains.
Frank, can you chime in on the chocolate fruit combination?
Not a fan.
There you go.
No, yeah. Drew says orange cranberry relish. Yeah, that's orange cranberry. It's not orange cranberry drizzled in Hershey syrup.
Chocolate relish. It's fine.
Put some
Nothing
Hershey.
wrong with oranges.
Next time you make
There's nothing wrong with fruit.
Next time you make a sundae, put sherbet in there along with some Hershey syrup. And let's see how it goes.
Just don't put chocolate in it.
It's gross.
Oh,
gross.
We'll come back. More Blake Snell talk. Second half of Ben and Woods. The Seals coming in. All ahead here on 97.3 The Fan.
97.3 The Fan. I'm Woodsy. That is Italian Paul, Frank Marchese, Skinny Frank. And you're holding it down. Great job this week. Appreciate you being here. I know it's hard getting up in the morning, dealing with us. So I appreciate all your hard work, Frankie. To my left, speaking of appreciative, my Lord, Ben, I owe you one. I owe you one for coming in yesterday when we were up against it after a long, long night in the ER. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. And I've realized I'm working on your Christmas gift as we speak, literally as we speak. And once you get it, you're going to be like, I'm going the extra mile because you go the extra mile. Does that make sense?
You were doing fine without me yesterday. I was enjoying the show.
It was horrible.
You and Frank were shooting the breeze, and
vamping.
It's a little rude.
No, we were fine then. But anything past where we got to, we were dead.
You were starting to get a little nervous about the final 2.5+ hours of the program yesterday.
100%.
Well, Frank, I know you feel offended. It doesn't mean that he has no faith in you, but it's more, I think, that he lacks some faith in himself.
Correct.
Kind of what it sounded like, though.
It's a self-hatred thing, Frankie. It's a non-believing in myself thing. It has nothing to do with it.
Oh, I get you.
But, yeah, so Orthodox wants to know, is it a Delilah poster? No, but I can get one of those in 5 minutes. That's an easy fix.
Would it shock you to learn that I have given zero thought to your Christmas present at this point?
Not even a little.
We're not even in December yet.
It doesn't surprise me at all. Yours is going to take a minute, and it's going to be very special, and you're going to be very, very happy with it. And I've not to pat myself on the back, but I'm going to great lengths here. And I did text.
Did you use the present I gave you last year?
The coaching stuff?
The bucket of balls. Yes.
I use it every day.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I use it every day. My coaching clipboard that you got me. I use all of that every single time that I coach.
Then I feel happy.
Yeah, 100%.
You just want a present to be used.
That's it. You want a present that you get somebody that they're going to enjoy. Like I already bought one for my wife. She said no presents, but I saw guess where? Saw something on Instagram and bought it in an ambient haze, and she'll get it, and then she'll turn her nose up at it. But I thought it looked really cute when I saw it. She's not going to be happy with me. And she's tough. She's tough to buy gifts for. But no, I want to get you something. I've gone the extra mile, made some extra phone calls because I want you to be very happy because you deserve it.
Phone calls.
Benjamin. Oh, yeah, I've been texting and phone calls.
Presents don't usually require phone calls, multiple phone calls.
This one does. You're gonna be very, very happy with this. But speaking of
hello, Amazon. Yes, this is Woods again.
Speaking of gifts, my wife and I received a gift last night. I came home, and as you know, I told you guys on Monday about we got a Sprinter van. Now we still don't have it yet. My wife texted the salesman yesterday. The GIF of the skeleton tapping his fingers, right? That's all she
But he was in the torture chamber at that
he's
point.
Dying. So I haven't heard when we're getting it. They're supposed to deliver it. They had to fix one thing. But the salesman, which is a common thing, like you spend that much money on something, you then give the person that bought it a gift, right? So we come home yesterday.
A thank you gift for buying it from me, essentially.
Correct. So we come home yesterday, and there's a big box on the front porch. What the hell is this? What did you order? Babe, did you order a bunch of crab? No. So we open it. It's from the sales guy. He sent us from Pappas, P-A-P-P-A-S, Pappas Crab Company in Baltimore, a big, giant box full of crab.
Like lump crab, or the actual in the shells, or what do we got?
So we had crab stuffed shrimp.
Shrimp are small. You can actually stuff
a
shrimp.
You flatten it, and then you just put lump crab meat on top of it. Okay. Then we had
kind of a plate for the crab.
Then we had 4 massive crab cakes. I'd say probably 5 inches across, massive, and then there was the 4 bags of crab stew that I just
crab stew.
I just put straight in the freezer.
Okay.
I think Hannah might have given it away on Buy Nothing. I think she was going to. So I said, all right, hope you guys like crab tonight because that's what we're eating. So I cooked it up. And I made the crab cakes and the stuffed shrimp on the baking tin, the baking sheet, put it in the oven, cooked it for 15, 16 minutes, whatever.
Meat and seafood are always an interesting gift. Our agent gives us meat every year.
We share the same agent, and every year we get the box from our agent, and it's Ben's Badass Burger Blend,
yes.
or Woods' Badass Burger Blend.
Oh, I thought they had to come up with something alliterative for you.
No.
Okay.
No, it's Woods' Badass Burger Blend. And we get it every year, and I use it. I eat it. But so this crab, I cooked up all this crab, and it came out of the oven. And once you cook,
did you Google how do I cook crab?
It came with
instructions. Okay.
Yep. And so I put the crab in. We take the crab out. I'll tell you this right now: our house did not smell great. It just baking crab,
like a wharf,
pounds and pounds of crab. Okay,
the Fisherman's Wharf doesn't smell that great. I know that
it does not. So Taylor walks in from swim class, immediately goes, "Oh, what's that smell?"
That's your dinner, buddy.
And Bo's looking at it going, "I don't know, Dad." And Hannah is like, "No." And I go, "I don't know what to tell you. I've just made 15 pounds of crab. What are we going to do with all of this crab?" So I get it out. They have the little sauce. So I have a bite. And I go, "It's pretty good." So I have another bite. And I end up eating the majority of one crab cake. And then I thought to myself, and I tweeted this, is there a food that you eat regularly? You're not but every time you eat it, you fear you're going to get violently ill every time you eat it, but you still eat it anyway. A lot of people weighed in. They said, sometimes like when I eat Chipotle, like I go in knowing it's probably not going to agree with me, but I do it anyway. A lot of people said street tacos, street hot dogs. Crab is that one for me. Every time I eat a crab cake, Ben, you know how it's...
So there's a difference between whether something's going to make you sick. Like, I will eat oysters. I like oysters.
Yes.
But there's always, when they're raw, and that's the best way to eat them,
yeah,
you always worry that you're going to get a bad one, and it's not going to go well.
And I don't mean, like, when I eat crab, I don't fear, like, oh, it might, like, not agree with me. I worry that I'm going to get violently ill food poisoning.
Like, if I know if I love a bean and cheese burrito, I know it's not going to settle that well in my stomach, but I'm not worried about getting sick from it.
Every time I eat Mexican food now, my fingers swell up and I'm in pain. Every time. And I love Mexican food. I love the Mexican food here. I know what the consequences are. It feels like Russian roulette when I eat crab. I don't know why. You bite it, sometimes you go, is it too fishy? And then you're like, but it's fish, so it's supposed to be. But every time I eat crab, I feel like I was like, this is going to be the one that sends me to the ER.
I once took I put my life on the line. I don't know why. It just felt like, all right, we're here. When in Rome, it's the moment. We were at a wedding in Sayulita, Mexico, a few years ago. And I don't know if you've ever been down to Sayulita. It's down just north of Puerto Vallarta. Cool little Mexican coastal village, surfing, beach, lots, restaurants and shopping. And there's this place called the Cemetery Beach, where you walk down and you go through past the cemetery, and it's kind of this secluded beach. And we walk down there to spend, a few hours just to, enjoying ourselves. There's this guy with a cart and a cooler selling freshly shucked oysters on a beach in Mexico.
Oh.
And we went for it. And I thought, this is probably the dumbest thing I've ever done. They were fine. They were good.
You got through
it. They were good. I got through it. Did not kill myself.
And I'm telling you, dude, every time if I go to like Ruth's Chris or something, go to a nice dinner, my appetizer really of choice is a crab cake. I like a crab cake. But every time they bring it out, it's like they're bringing me a revolver with one bullet in it. And they're like...
See, now, a crab cake, at least, is cooked. It's not raw.
It is.
Raw is always... I eat sushi a lot.
Yeah.
That's, somewhat... could be risky.
But I still get that...
Steak tartare, you ever had that?
Once.
That worries me a little. It's good.
And it was phenomenal. Yeah. But yes, as I'm eating it, I'm going, is this rancid? Is it rotten? Am I going to die once I eat it? And I had last night, so I ate it, Ben, and I had to... Maybe it was in my head, it was psychosomatic, but I'm walking around the house like at bedtime, and my the glands start to like water in the back, and I'm like... And I almost went and pulled trigger. Like, made myself vomit just to get it up. I got through it, went to bed, and was fine. But man,
I do believe your mind can make
big time.
make you sick when you think it's going to be, even though there really was nothing wrong with what you were eating.
Big time. And again, I just feel like every time I venture down the crab cake alley, I'm going to get a dirty one, a bad one, and it's going to come back and bite me. Frankie, anything for you when you were allowed to actually eat?
I'm usually a baked clam, fried calamari guy. So that's usually as far as I'll go.
That feels a little Russian roulette-y sometimes too.
Depends. It's mostly homemade. So
when
it's
you
not like we're
make
going out
clams or mussels, and they always tell you if it doesn't open up, you want to make sure you throw that one away.
Which I
never totally understood. How do they know? Well, I'm bad, so I'm going to stay closed. When you steam me, how does it know that it's a good clam or a bad clam?
I don't think that's how that works, but sure.
I don't think so either, but that's what they always say. Yeah, if you steam clams and one of them doesn't really open up, toss that one out. It was a bad one.
But it's usually some sort of seafood, right? Like but like if I go to Long John Silver's to get a plank of cod, I feel better than eating a crab cake at a nice restaurant.
You know that those places are overcooking
Correct.
that stuff, which doesn't taste great, but that makes it generally safe to consume. Seafood is best consumed usually when it's raw or very type rare.
Yes.
Which then, of course, you're risking potential illnesses because you haven't cooked it all the bad stuff out of it.
It's funny because you go to sit down for sushi and you're like, "Whoa, this smells fishy," but you still eat it because it's fish.
The best sushi restaurants don't smell fishy, which is crazy.
I know.
But the best sushi restaurants, you walk in and you go, "Wait, I'm at a sushi place. It doesn't smell like fish here at all."
But if you get a roll and you take a bite of it, you know within 1 second. Crab cake's a little different. You eat it and you're like, "Oh God, it's a little bit fishy," but they all kind of have that little aftertaste. You know what I'm talking about? So it was a dicey night. Look, and I'm not proud of this, but I ended up throwing away a lot of crab last night, a lot. And Ben actually asked me to bring some in today, and I said,
part of the diciness is that it was sent to you in the mail.
Yeah, but
It's one thing if you go to the market and you go to the case and it's there on ice and like, okay, yeah, we just got this in today, and you go by. When it comes to you in a box in the mail, seafood's definitely on the dicier side.
It's got dry ice in it. So I mean, it also came from Maryland, so it's a bit of a hike. I don't know, man.
I definitely agree with Brandon in the chat. Fish are friends, not food.
I do like fish, though. I do enjoy some fish, but I really felt like I was taking my life. But he wanted me to bring in. I go, Ben, I'm not going to bring in leftover crab for breakfast, and then you go in there and heat it up, microwave it. I mean, it was fresh out of the oven, and it was still dicey. So. Yeah, that was people weighed in on that last night like crazy, though. They loved that topic. Somebody said poke. I said, oh, my God, yeah. Poke, you sit down, you're like, this could end me. This could absolutely end me.
Yeah, you'll go,
now.
And it's just sitting there in a...
Oh, yeah, like
I'm sure it's cool down there, but it's just, in a tub, and then they
ice cream
scoop
in there, and you're like,
it into your bowl.
All right, let's go.
It's not cooked at all. We're going to be okay with this. We'll be all right.
Interesting stuff.
I'm blessed with a fairly strong stomach, so.
Mine's not great. It's not that great.
All right. I want to talk about how the Blake Snell signing does or does not impact the pursuit of Roki Sasaki as an international free agent. We can get to that coming up, and then we got some Seals in studio at the bottom of the hour. Don't go away. More Ben and Woods coming up on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go. Black 17 on. That is wide open. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
There was one annoying aspect of the Blake Snell coverage yesterday.
It's that you just talked over Black Betty. That is the number one rule on Ben and Woods.
I got distracted.
I mean, it's bad luck for 7 years now. Unbelievable. Another 7 years.
Just getting past the 7 years from the first time I did it.
Correct.
7 years ago.
7 years ago.
I got distracted. Caesar and Cole from Mason Ale Works are here. Seals are coming in a few minutes. But We'll get to that in a second. What annoyed me is that when once they announced the Blake Snell deal had been agreed upon, I saw a number of national writers quickly jump in. And of course, the Dodgers are still the massive favorites to land Roki Sasaki.
Yeah.
They already have a generationally good pitching staff.
Yeah, very
They're the
good.
last team that needs Roki Sasaki at this point.
Does it matter?
Every other team needs Roki Sasaki more than the Dodgers. Now, Roki Sasaki's under no obligation to go to another team that needs him more. But he is the rare player who cannot be bought by Dodger money. The advantage that they have, he cannot be bought by the Dodger money.
Correct.
And if he also goes to the Dodgers to join Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow and Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Shohei Ohtani and, Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin. I mean, guys, Clayton Kershaw, they have like a ridiculous abundance of they'll have starting pitchers that they won't even be able to use. And to me, I don't know why Roki Sasaki would want to go play for a team where he might not even get used. I mean, they might not have to send him down to AAA to get some starts. There's plenty of teams where you'd be a major part of their starting rotation and be able to jump right in and compete in Major League Baseball. The Dodgers are now not one of them.
29 of them.
Right. The Dodgers are now not one of them. He's probably would be their fifth or sixth starter.
Well,
I'm sure they'd love to develop him. Just like any other team would.
But listen, you get Roki Sasaki. You're going to have a 6-man rotation if you're LA because Yamamoto needs an extra day. Shohei is going to be. They're going to, if they're smart, when they are, kid gloves with Shohei Ohtani. Yamamoto needs that extra day of rest. Glasnow could probably benefit from an extra day of rest as he's coming back. They have a lot of guys, right? They do. But if you get Roki Sasaki for $7 million for 6 years, Tony Gonsolin is now expendable. Some of the other guys that you named, I mean, they're expendable at this point. You can trade them for whatever else you need. They absolutely need Roki as much as anybody does, just for different reasons, right? Different reasons entirely. He comes here, he's our 2-3 starter. He starts there. Maybe he's their 4. But again, you can't have too much, and they know. Well,
obviously, the Dodgers would love to have him. I'm talking about why would Roki Sasaki want to be there, where he is an afterthought on that team in that rotation that's already won a World Series.
But that's like saying. Why would Brad Pitt be in Ocean's 11? Because there's George Clooney's in it and all these other stars. There's plenty of room. There's plenty of room. He's only going to pitch every 6th day anyway, right? He's not a position player. He's going to pitch every 6th day regardless. So he'll get his love on the days that he pitches. I think I can't talk myself into it yet of like, oh, they signed Blake Snell. If you're Roki Sasaki, you're like, oh, no, I'm going to go somewhere else now.
There's only so much oxygen a team can offer to a player, though. And Shohei Ohtani already takes up 90% of the oxygen of that team. That's not going to change
Which
next
may
year.
be great. If you're Roki Sasaki, that may be great.
Is he coming over just to be under the radar? And I didn't get that sense.
I think he's coming over to pitch.
He sounded like he wants to come over because he wants to challenge himself against the best and prove himself.
He will do that.
I don't think you can prove yourself on the Dodgers.
Sure you can. Sure you can. You absolutely can. And
what?
By going out and pitching your ass off every 6th day. That's how you prove yourself.
Winning another World Series?
Correct.
Then Ohtani and all those guys will get credit for winning another one, and you'll just be another nice piece that they've added to the puzzle. Well, if you want to be a star, you got to go to another team.
But again, he will be a star. That's the thing.
No, he won't.
Yes,
he will be an afterthought on that team. He will not be a star at all on the Dodgers.
He will be a star.
The third most popular Japanese player on their team. He will be a minor blip if he goes to Los Angeles.
No, he's still a star.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. He's still a star. Is Freddie Freeman a star?
Not as much as Shohei Ohtani. Not even close.
Mookie Betts a star?
Freddie Freeman was a much bigger star with the Braves than he is with the Dodgers.
Okay. Fair.
And that's fine.
But
if that's what he wants, that's what he wants, and he's winning rings, great. But he's already established himself as a star before he came to the Dodgers. Nobody here knows Roki Sasaki. He needs to have that time where he goes and he can be a focus, someone who becomes a star in Major League Baseball. He'll never become a star with it unless he puts like historic numbers up,
which is what they're projecting for him, right? That's why everybody wants him, because they expect him to go out and win and dominate and have a low ERA and a high strikeouts and a FIP and everything else. Like
from what we've heard, he's still a work in progress. He's going to need some time to develop. To me, the Dodgers, so they're going to tell Clayton Kershaw, you're not pitching because we need to get Roki Sasaki his start every week.
Clayton Kershaw, who's 60 years old?
Well, I know.
Yeah.
But, he said he's coming back and wants to pitch for the Dodgers again.
So, Satan's Blowfish says he tried to come over in 23 after Japan won the WBC. He's going where the other two others on that team went, the Dodgers. I think you need to brace yourself for the inevitable, my friend. I think also, we don't know what's in his heart. I don't know that look, all right, put yourself in his shoes. If you're him, you're like, man, that's a pretty soft landing spot. Two of my homies are over there. They have money.
If he's looking for the softest landing spot possible, then the Dodgers would be a good choice.
I know you want him to challenge himself and go pitch for the Rockies, but it's not going to happen. You're basically discounting if he doesn't go to
I'm not saying he has to come to the Padres. I just think there are a lot of other options out there, including the Padres, where you could have.
You want to impress
the best
me,
of both
Roki?
worlds.
Go pitch in Sacramento. All right, go pitch in Tampa. Is essentially what you're saying right now. That's essentially what you're saying. Yeah, everyone needs to prepare for the. 85% chance that he ends up a Dodger. It's not rational what you're saying. He will be a star.
Should Corbin Burns sign with the Dodgers too?
If what's in Corbin Burns' heart, probably wants to win a World Series.
Then he should probably sign with the Dodgers and take less money.
You're probably right.
What does Juan Soto want to do? We know he wants the most money.
Win a World Series,
but maybe he wants to do that. So why does anybody sign with any team that's not the Dodgers at this point?
It's a great question. It's a great question. I can't answer that question for you. Because if you're a free agent right now and you're on the phone with your agent and you don't really care, you just want to go to a good opportunity.
There's plenty of money.
I
want to sign with the Dodgers.
Aren't you saying, hey man, has Friedman called you yet?
Is there a line?
Think about what the Yankees used to be. People would say, no, I want to wear the pinstripes. I'll shave the beard. I'll cut the hair. I want to wear the pinstripes. Nobody's saying that now. Oh, I want to go to the Red Sox, man. These guys are really together, winning World Series. I want to go to Ben. What about the Giants? Giants won, 3 in 5 years? And you can't pay a guy to go there enough. You can't give him enough money to go pitch and play in San Francisco right now. So I'm telling you, you better brace yourself for what's going to happen. I'm fully prepared.
You only have 26 roster spots.
That's right.
And you have apparently 700 people who want to play for your team.
But they'll flip Tony Gonsolin to the Pirates so fast it'll make your head spin. Tony Gonsolin, Landon Nag, Ben Kasparius, all these guys.
Oh, maybe A.J. Preller needs to be on the phone
100%
with Andrew Friedman to pick up some of those guys because they've got good pitchers.
Look, I know what you're trying to speak it into existence, and I'm just telling you, I think it's a fool's errand because he'll make the money he needs to make and endorsements. He'll get plenty of attention in L.A. There's no doubt.
I just don't think. There's a limited amount of attention that can go in any city, and Shohei will always have the most attention.
Oh, you think it was rough last year with Shohei? Just wait. It's going to be.
Maybe he doesn't want attention, and
maybe not.
I don't know. I don't know what is in his heart. I agree with you, Blue Meanie. I don't know what's in Roki Sasaki's heart. But it seems like he wanted to come over here to prove himself, and I don't think you prove yourself with the Dodgers. I think you go and you have the soft landing spot with the Dodgers. If you want to go prove yourself, you go somewhere else.
Tampa.
Anywhere. Anywhere. Cubs, fine, whatever. Go prove yourself. There's a lot of other teams that need you way more than the Dodgers do.
It's going to hurt.
All right, we'll take a timeout. Do we have some Seals coming up or not? We'll find out.
Here?
Are they here?
Oh,
they're in the building.
Beautiful.
All right, outstanding. Seal season gets underway this Sunday.
Now we're going to talk to some athletes.
A couple of captains
that don't care about the money. They are there to win.
That's a good point.
Win and win alone.
Next, with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
tournament.
We are ready for the holiday season here on Ben and Woods. Final show before Thanksgiving, and we're going to check traffic. We'll come back. We got some Seals in studio. It's a festive atmosphere here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the Mini Donut Company. Got a couple things going on here, guys. Some metal debris reported in middle lanes, northbound 5 before Washington Street. And Cordell traffic cam shows a collision over the right shoulder, northbound 15 past the King Freeway. Seeking the perfect treat for the holidays? Try the Mini Donut Company with rotating, seasonal, and classic flavors. The Mini Donut Company offers the perfect bite-sized indulgence for your office or holiday gathering. Visit getminidonuts.com and order from UTC, Point Loma, or Carlsbad. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And joining us live in studio, a couple of my buddies, known them a long time. Glad you guys are here. Seal season starts on Sunday, joined by Wesley Berg. I never know what you want to be, Wesley or Wes. You've matured, so I think now you go by Wesley. Is that right? Is it now Wesley? Wesley Berg, just an absolute stud. And Cam Holding, one of my favorite Seals to he's been here since the beginning. Welcome in, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Good to get out. We get right up on the mic.
Oh yeah.
So we got the season kicking off on Sunday. It's always the longest off season for me because I just love getting back into the arena. Going to be playing Philly on Sunday, and listen, the team looks a little different this year. And I know I was talking to you guys at Seals camp this year, and concerted effort to kind of get more athletic, younger. I remember the game against Albany in the playoffs. And it was like, holy crap, these dudes are fast and they are running hard. And we just looked a little bit off. And you guys have made a lot of changes this year. How's the team looking?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot younger, and then we got some pretty awesome vets that we brought in.
Yep.
So some guys, I've been lucky to play with before with Rob Hellier and Ben McIntosh, and then Zach Courier. So when you
Beasts.
Talk about athleticism and guys that can do a little bit of everything and score goals, it's exciting to have those guys.
I'm so excited to see how it shapes up on Sunday. How have practices been and stuff so far? Everybody intense and feeling good?
Yeah, it's good. They're fast for sure.
Any fights?
No fight.
Okay, all right.
There is a ton of compete, man. I
Good.
know Wes was touching on it, and our fans are going to see a very fast brand of lacrosse, and we're going to push the ball in transition. Obviously, we got Riggs back there making big saves.
So good.
But it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a different brand of lacrosse for us, for sure.
I love it.
I couldn't believe it when Woods told me this is the 6th season of Seals lacrosse already. Like, where did the time go? And Cam, I mean, you've been around and seen it. So I guess one of the things I love about it is that you're competing for a championship. Joe Tsai, who owns the team, that's what he wants.
Yeah.
Now, it's been just outside of the grasp. What do you feel like is necessary? Because you had some really great regular seasons. You had the opportunities. What's the missing piece? What do you need to get over the top and finally win that NLL championship?
Yeah, just to close that gap. I mean, Bergie just touched on a couple of these key pieces that we brought in, and fans are going to see this Sunday. The ball's going to be moving a lot more. We're going to be a lot more athletic, pushing the ball up the floor. And I think it's just that sense of like team on the floor, right? And working together as a 5-man group on offense and on defense. So I think that's kind of like that missing element that we've had that's really going to take us to new levels this year.
It's crazy, too, because with an owner like Joe, he's gone out and signed some of the biggest offensive stars, Dane Doby, and I mean, the list goes on and on. But I always wondered from the box where I'm calling the games, I'm like, is there enough to go around, right? And it's very reminiscent of the Padres, right? They signed all these big stars, and it's not that we didn't gel. I don't think I've called many home losses. We don't lose a lot of games at home. I mean, it's a handful of games in 6 years we've lost at our house. But now, there's going to be people that need to step up to score, and I know that they're there. I'm excited to see guys like Trey Leclerc, boom, the next step, and we got some studs on this team. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't been out to a game yet, you have to come. It's so much fun. They fight. They're chippy. It's nasty. It's fast-paced. It's just the greatest, and I'm so happy it's back.
Yeah, we're fired up. I mean, like you said, I think, before we've had so many offensively talented players and so many pieces, and, we won a lot of games, and I think this year is a little bit different for, some of the guys alluded to earlier with Ben McIntosh, a guy that you don't notice with a ball a lot, and he just does nothing but open up things for other guys. He's a selfless teammate and scores big goals. And then I think you're going to be really excited to see guys like Robbie Hellier and Zach Courier ripping around and even putting more of like a full court press on teams, where before we're kind of worried about getting to the bench and, getting fast broken on the other way, which was kind of our kryptonite. We'd score a lot of goals, but we would gamble a bit, and sometimes the ball would end up the other side. I think now it'll be a little bit more of a kind of, athletic type juggernaut rather than just goal-scoring juggernaut here.
You know how there's sports, you watch it on TV and you think, oh, I could do that. I never thought that about lacrosse. I really didn't.
Never
I go,
once.
that looks really hard, is my first instinct. And then I had a newfound respect last year when during halftime of one of your games, Woods had me put on the goalie gear and get into net. And I could not believe just the equipment that now neither of you are goalies, but I don't know if you've ever put on the gear.
Oh, yeah.
It was unbelievable. It was like 40 pounds of gear. I mean, I could barely move in that stuff.
He was pretty good.
Much less
he
trying
actually
to
was
make
way
athletic maneuvers, and then they're just throwing the ball at you so hard. And I just had kids and Woods throwing it at me. And you got professional lacrosse players, and the ball's whizzing by.
No, I didn't. He actually blocked my shot.
I mean, I'd be out there the entire time just like this if I was a player, just trying not to get hit by that lacrosse ball. We got a couple of them in studio. They're really hard.
We should do a segment where we bring you on and you got to beat me or Bergie one on
the other way.
Yeah, the other way.
I mean, I'm a golfer, so maybe the accuracy, I don't know what I'd be better at, but I have utmost respect for you guys going out there and doing that, because it is not an easy sport.
It's violent. There's hard hitting. So it's such hard hitting that I always am like, how do you guys feel after a game? Because you guys take some abuse out there, and I've seen things on that field from the vantage point that I have. I've seen things, if you want to look at just the purity of sports, I've seen things that like no mortal can do with a ball. Like the way that Bergie can be looking here and sling it this way. I mean, everyone wants to talk about quarterbacks. Oh, the no-look pass. Like, do it with a lacrosse ball through six guys. I mean, it is truly, truly an art what you guys do. And I want more people to come out and see it, because it is so much fun to be a part of. It really is, man. You guys have been a joy to watch. And, again, one of the best goalies in the league, good defense. I'm excited about this year, man. I think we can do some damage.
Yeah, and outside of the on-floor product, I mean, we do a great job with the entertainment piece of it with
You're
our
welcome.
halftime
You're
show.
welcome,
Yeah,
by the way.
we got
Yeah,
a great guy
100%
between
you
the
do.
boxes.
That's right.
I mean, we've got our new beer here from Mason Ale Works too. We got promo $5 Tall Boys for our Salty's Golden Crown this Sunday. So a lot of fun stuff going on, and a lot that you don't want to miss at these games.
The Sirens dancers are fantastic. I'm not allowed to look at them from what I hear. They do a great job. The halftime entertainment's always
You're so
a
close
blast.
up there,
I'm so
Woods,
glad.
though.
I'm right there.
You're not allowed to look at all.
I just put my head down, just keep my work in front of me. But man, thank you guys for coming in, dude. It's always an honor to see you and a privilege. You guys, they do so much in the community too, helping to grow the game with the youth. And it's an awesome organization.
I will also add, the equipment doesn't smell all that good. I don't know if
it
that's
does
all
not.
the equipment or that was just the equipment I
No,
was in.
that's just equipment we gave you.
Okay.
The goalie
But
gear
that's another
especially.
thing you guys have to overcome, apparently, every single game is kind of the smell.
Yeah.
Well, and there's, listen, the league, Buffalo is like this juggernaut. And they're such a fun team. They got a couple ex-SEALs on there, guys like Bucky Buchanan, who I just adore and still stay in contact with. But, you should see their games, man. It's like 15,000 people. It's absolutely bananas, man. And I know we can get there. San Diego loves a winner. There's no question. And we've seen it at Petco Park. Let's see it out of Pechanga. It starts on Sunday. I can't wait. I'm going to be going nuts. I can't wait.
Caesar, Mason Aylworth, can you jump in and tell us about Salty's Golden Crown? They mentioned the beer special, $5 Tall Boys, and that's going to be at every game. But just jump in here for a second since you brought some for us. Yeah, just get up close to Woods,
Totally,
get tight.
totally normal.
Woods has no personal space; is not a thing with him.
We've shared a space like this before.
Exactly.
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, so we just decided, we had the crew in, did a little tasting panel. These boys, they withheld because they were keeping in shape for the season. I won't call out the other guys. But yeah, went through a number of beers, and what we settled on was our award-winning blonde ale. So just something nice, approachable, easy drinking. Anybody that's a beer lover can enjoy it, At $5 for a 16-ounce can, it's hard to beat that deal.
Also, dude, we were texting yesterday. So you one of the founders of Emo Brown Foundation. You guys do a lot of work helping out a lot of people in San Diego, but you had something that you wanted to promote while you were here that you guys are up to. And I've been on the Emo Brown podcast a couple times. It's electric, so much fun. I feel like I get made fun of a lot in Spanish when I'm on there because I do, I think. But I always have a great time.
You introduced us to the world of snooters, my friend.
Oh,
we will talk about that off air.
Save that.
Honestly, it's a thrill what we're able to do. It's our 5th annual gratitude bike ride. Last year, we raised over $10,000 to send all the kids from Montgomery Elementary to 6th grade camp. Kind of made up that shortfall. So this Saturday, we are approaching the new Rice Elementary School, and we're trying to put the entire program through their 6th grade camp. So we're trying to raise $30,000. We're going to meet at 3 Punk Ales, 8:30 in the morning, take a bike ride over to our friends at Tribal at the lower left, then over to Bottle Rocket with our friend Eli, and then back to 3 Punk Ales. And everybody that's involved right now, they've either become a sponsor or they've become a donor. Just kind of trying to do well in our neighborhood and take care of our community for the 5th consecutive year in a row. So it's a big challenge for us. Again, we hit that 10,000 mark last year. So to hit 30,000 this year would be very welcome. If you guys want to join us, please come out or become a donor.
And where can we donate?
If you go on the Emo Brown Foundation Instagram or just the Emo Brown Instagram, you can find the links there, and it'll tell you everything you need to know about what we're getting done.
All right, let me know how much Ben donates, and I'll match that. Look at him. Ben will say, I gave them the platform to promote.
Yeah, it's a promotion going on here. I did my part.
I love busting his
Before we
balls
wrap
about
up here at the top of the hour, we've got Cam Holding, Wesley Berg from the San Diego Seals in. I'm always fascinated. Now, most of you guys don't actually live full-time in San Diego. Where are you guys based out of?
Cammy does.
Yeah, so
you
guys
do,
live
yeah.
here
You both are here now
yeah,
full-time.
There's a good group of us.
You
that
do
live
have
down
some
here.
teammates, obviously, that come in. Some guys are from Canada, other parts, and they come in for a few days, and then you guys go on road trips, obviously, together.
Yeah.
But it's not... people get the sense of professional sports teams, and it's all luxury, and you got, easy travel, and everything's taken care of you. And it's not what it's like in the National Lacrosse League.
For some teams, Joe treats us really well.
Is that true?
Yeah,
Okay, well,
our organization is incredible, and we're very fortunate to be a part of the Seals. But we do definitely have some, like half of our team lives in Market, and about half of them fly in each weekend from Toronto, Vancouver, and other places.
Then how do you manage that? Like in terms of like practices? Is there like remote Zoom sessions?
You got to be
have,
there on time,
meetings
right?
and stuff. But
so we have Tuesday night Zooms as a team, and then it's just accountability and making sure you're working out and getting in your work during the week. So the Toronto guys will meet, the Van guys will meet, and then all of our San Diego guys, we work out every morning at like 6:30, and then we do shoot arounds throughout the week as well.
Interesting.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome. It's such a fun sport. It's such a fun day. Great, great family atmosphere too on Sunday. So hope to see everybody out at Pechanga Arena. You can get your tickets at sealslax.com and come get those $5 beers. It's a blast.
And there's what you said about 9 home games through the regular season from December through around.
It goes
April?
until
about May, June.
April, May, June.
Yeah.
Playoff times
April,
like May, June.
Playoffs May, June, and then I think we also have first 1,500 fans are Trevor Baptiste bobblehead night.
Amazing.
Right.
Right.
So get there early.
Now he's the face-off guy that you
Face-off
guys brought in
specialist.
last year,
GOAT.
like best of all time.
Yeah, like Jordan in basketball.
That looks like
go
another
watch him.
really hard part of the game.
So
How they even do that? They just drop the ball right in the middle, and then they basically like a sword fight with the sticks for like a minute, and then someone ends up with the ball.
Interesting choice of words that you use there.
It's kind of what they do, though. They're like pushing, battling back and forth with their lacrosse sticks.
All right.
You don't just grab it quickly and run away with it. It's like a fight.
Yeah, it's like
Trevor grabs it quickly though. And
He just kind of sneaks away before anyone notices.
He really did.
It's all right. All right, well, gentlemen, good luck this season. Thank you for coming in studio. Caesar Cole, thank you for representing Mason Ale Works. And we will look forward to another season of Seals Lacrosse.
I can't wait.
With Woodsy on the mic.
That's right. That's right.
Getting everybody fired up from the Sin Bin.
From the Sin Bin, it's my job. I'm a little nervous.
Are you going to tick off another team's head coach like you did last year?
That's the goal.
Nearly getting a fight?
That guy. You know what I'm talking about. I'll never forget it. Ever.
All right, we got 1 hour to go on the show before Thanksgiving. Frankie's got some Rival Report headlines for us, including the newest college football playoff rankings. We'll talk more about Blake Snell going to the Dodgers as well. All coming up on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Our thanks again to Wesley Berg, Cam Holding. Wesley, not Wes, you decided?
That's reads when I read the name now. It's Wesley Berg. It used to be Wes Berg.
Both captains of the San Diego Seals.
A couple of the best human beings you will meet. The kindest. I've seen them at Seals camp with the kids, dude. They're just the best. Best humans. They're Canadian, so, you know.
That is true.
The Canadians are just the nicest.
But they're tough sometimes.
They're tough as nails.
Yeah.
I talked to, so Bergie had, it's one of my favorite stories. Bergie is one of the toughest players you'll see. Big, Mrs. Woods is a huge Westberg fan, as you can imagine. And I was talking to Bergie about his upbringing in Canada, and he had an older brother that was a lacrosse player as well. And I think there was like a 5-year difference in the two. And his dad sits him down. He's like, listen, here's the deal. You want to play lacrosse like your brother? You're going to play with him. With the older kids. Yeah, I'm not going to 2 events. So I'll tell you right now, if you want to play, you better toughen up. And you're going to learn to play with him and his friends and that age group. So Bergie was playing with kids 5 years older. When he's 5 years old, he's playing with 10-year-olds. He's 10 years old, he's playing with 15-year-olds. Because his old man didn't want to go to 2 different games in a day. And I just thought, how would that go over in my house? Just telling
Taylor,
we
may have a plan for you.
Guess what, Taylor? You're a machine pitch next year, buddy. And, I mean, look, you guys are a professional lacrosse player, one of the best in the business, but they're the best guys, man. I love them. It's the reason, Benny, you know, I don't make a ton of money doing it. I go there because I love the players, and I love the game, and I love how hard they play for nothing. They play their asses off. They leave it all out there every single game, and you're like, This is what I you go to be inspired, and they are an inspiring bunch of dudes. And I can't tell you guys enough. If you haven't been, you're like, lacrosse, indoor lacrosse. Are you kidding me? I never thought I would fall in love with it like I have. And I'm watching games on my iPad. I'm as psychotic about it when the season starts as anybody.
We're trying to plan our final hour here because we still have to make up. We didn't play Take on Woods.
No, we forgot
a little bit earlier. I teased. Why don't we do the let's do the Rindle report with Frank, and then we'll figure out. We'll stick in Take on Woods somewhere in the last 45 minutes. Oh, did you move it?
I've already moved it.
All right, let's switch.
Okay, we'll switch.
We'll
all right,
Take
hang
on.
Then we'll get some callers now. We'll play Take on Woods coming up in a couple of minutes. If you want to have a chance to be our last qualifier for the month for the trip to Las Vegas, 833-288-0973. Kind of some later audience this morning. So if you don't get a chance to play at our normal time at 7:10, this is your chance. Battle Woods in a musical trivia challenge. 5 questions and a chance to qualify for a 2-night stay and dining credits and everything in Las Vegas. 833-288-0973. Call now, 833-288-0973. And as soon as someone calls in, we'll play here in a couple of minutes. We've been spending a lot of time, obviously, this morning talking about the Blake Snell signing. Now, I did want to mention, I don't know if you talked about it in the first hour yesterday when I wasn't here, but the rumors of a Nolan Arenado trade.
Yeah,
with the St. Louis Cardinals, if you got to that.
No, so there was a report that came out that said Nolan Arenado is willing, which I can't really for the life of me understand why this would be out there, other than he said he would move to first base for the right team. If another team wanted to come and get him, he'd be willing to move across the diamond. You're talking about one of the best to ever do it at third base. And I don't know, man, did he fall off that much defensively, or is St. Louis just that bad of an organization that he wants to get out? Why would you let people know you can just to make him more attractive, I guess, but then you are maybe playing first base and you're Nolan Arenado.
I was confused by that. I mean, it's to the point that I was starting to try to speculate which teams have such an established third baseman that Nolan Arenado is like, I got no chance of playing third on this team. Right. And, I kept coming back. Well, the San Diego Padres could use a first baseman.
Right.
And someone of, Nolan Arenado's capability. Now, I don't necessarily see a pathway. He's still got a big contract. What does he have left on that deal? I mean, that's basically, the Cardinals would want to trade him because he's at the point where his contract doesn't make a ton of sense for that team. He's opted in through 2027, so 3 more seasons.
He'll make 24 in 24. He'll make 21 in 25, and he'll make 16 and 15, respectively.
Now, if he was still Nolan Arenado, that's an absolute steal and a bargain. The question is, will he still be Nolan Arenado? Now, he was a 3-WAR player Just not bad. I mean, that's not a bad price, but at the same time, is that going to slide down to 2.4 and then 1.6 and then 0.9 in the next 3 seasons? And then you're paying a lot for a guy that probably is not worth the cost if he truly is slipping. So, I didn't see the Padres necessarily being in the sweepstakes for Nolan Arenado, but when he said, I'm willing to move, I mean, there's not that many teams that are going, well, Manny Machado is clearly one of those guys that if you came to the Padres and you were a third baseman, you'd need to find a different position to play because Manny's entrenched there at third, as he should be for, many years to come. But how many other teams are out there that might be in the market for Nolan Arenado that wouldn't put him at third base?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And I don't know, man. The bat, obviously, is a bit of a concern. I mean, he was fine last year. Fine. I mean, he's not a $25 million.
There's 2.5 WAR according to Baseball Reference. So 16 homers, 272 average, 325 on base percentage.
Slugged 394, which is not good.
I mean, he was
OPS
a
719,
which his career is 857. So that's a big drop off from what Nolan Arenado normally is.
Kind of gives you a little bit of the Xander Bogaerts vibe, maybe a little bit, and he's put his body through it, played a lot of games.
He'll be 34 early next season in April. So, you're getting the 34, 35, and 36-year-old seasons of Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, no, I'm going to do the old Woods hard pass on that, I think. Especially, you got to trade prospects for him and then eat a ton of,
I don't
pay him a
know.
lot.
I mean, what team is willing to trade a bunch of prospects for Nolan Arenado and take on the money? I mean, that's the reason why the Cardinals are interested in trading him, right?
They'll eat a portion.
Well, they either have to eat a portion or they're not getting anything of value back, would be my guess.
This is interesting. Brandon says, I saw the Red Sox would actually go the other way and move Rafael Devers across the diamond to first if they got Nolan Arenado. Decent fit there in Boston, short porch, obviously the green monster there. I think he's still a pretty dead pull hitter, yeah. That'd be a decent fit for him. But, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't think he's a fit here. Do we need a solid first baseman here? Yes. The answer is unequivocally yes. I would like to see Crony back to second if he stays here, and I would like to see a rise.
I mean, honestly, if you're going to pay someone
20,
even close to 20,
don't say. Are you going to say it?
Goldschmidt?
Yeah, I don't know. Reclamation project, maybe.
Well, I think you'd pay him a lot less than that.
Yeah.
But he plays really good first base.
Yeah, he does.
About Carlos Santana as a stopgap to get DeVries in, then you can move Cronenworth back over to first.
See, Crony's value is really at second.
No, I fully agree with you there. I fully agree with you. But right now, when Leo comes up, you're going to be shuffling the infield again.
There's no doubt. I think he's your shortstop of the future.
Yeah, so you move Bogaerts back over to second, Cronenworth back to first, because you're not moving either one of those contracts. You get Carlos Santana for 2 years. I understand he's almost 40, but he just won a Gold Glove.
I feel like he still is a good player.
Charles in the chat says maybe a change of scenery would do Nolan Arenado good. If we're talking about St. Louis is a place where now you can't have success, that's dropped off. That's usually the place you go to change your scenery and thrive. It's not a place you leave to go find success elsewhere.
I will say this, man. When they did the Arenado and Goldschmidt deals, I thought those are two moves that are going to put that team over the top for a couple of years. I really did, and it hasn't panned out necessarily for them. And I don't really know what the reason is. I think the down years from both of them last year didn't help at all. Goldschmidt looked lost at times last year, but then turned it on against the Padres, of course. But I don't know. Getting that old. I mean, we would have such an old and aged infield, I think, if that happened. What if you got Nolan Arenado playing first base or Paul Goldschmidt playing first? You're like, I think our average age of the infielders is about 33 at that point, 34. But hey, man, I'm down to whatever makes the team better. But you don't forget, Luis Ariz is that guy too, where you're like, I know you need some time in the field as well as to hit. So if he stays here, you got to think about that as well.
All right, we got a contestant on the line. It is time for our Wednesday edition, a little late, of Take on Woods.
It's time for Take on Woods. Take on
Woods.
Take on, take
Woods.
Take on Woods, brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. We got David on the line. David, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. What do you got planned for the holiday tomorrow?
Oh, with the family, have a big feast. Everybody's going to get together and watch the games.
All right, sounds good. Sounds pretty much what I'm doing and Woods is doing and everybody else is doing. All right, here's your chance to qualify for our monthly grand prize. Last show of November to qualify for the 2-night stay at the Westgate, Las Vegas. 2 tickets to Soul of Motown and a $150 food and beverage credit. Westgate, Las Vegas Resort and Casino features newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million in room renovations, and the award-winning Soul of Motown high-energy musical tribute celebrating Motown legends. Get your tickets at westgateresorts.com. Here are your category choices today. Prog rock, 5 questions about some of the greats in progressive rock. That's Not True, 5 song titles that feature a big lie somewhere in the title, a.k.a. the word lie. Or On the Run, 5 song titles and artists that begin with the word run. So, prog rock, That's Not True, or On the Run. David, what would you like to play?
Let's go with On the Run.
On the Run. Take the new category today. All right, you'll have 60 seconds to answer as many of the 5 as you can. If you don't know one, say pass. We will come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First question's the 2-second song. Frank's going to play that for you, and then you need to give me the song title and the artist to score that point. One of those 2 will begin with the word run, as will every other answer in today's category. David, are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
Frankie, you good to go? All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Frank plays our music, the category On the Run. Good luck, David. Let's take on Woods. Ooh.
Yeah.
I heard it. It's tough. John Popper performs the harmonica solo in the intro to which...
Runaway.
What was that?
Runaway.
Run Not Away. LP and Killer Mike formed which American hip-hop duo in 2013?
Pass.
Which 1984 lead song sung by Bryan Adams is considered a cheating classic for its themes of adultery?
Yeah.
The title hints at an anti-Vietnam War protest, but John Fogerty says which 1970 CCR song is actually about gun control?
Yeah.
Go back to the 2-second song. Time's up. That's tough. It was Run Around by the Blues Traveler. You kind of jumped around and with Runaway on that one. Frank takes 2 seconds very seriously. Paulie's a little more liberal. I think if you had heard maybe another half second of that song, it might have given away. I did hear it. I don't know if anyone else heard it out there. That was It's Tricky by Run DMC. Woods is going to come in, so I won't reveal any of the other answers for you. See how he does on this category. Frank's very tough. He's very strict on 2 seconds on the 2-second song.
Oh, wow.
So you're not going to get much of it. I'm curious to see if you're going to get it, especially not knowing the category.
It's a 2-second song. It's
I
not
know.
a 2.5.
Sometimes we make it 3 seconds, but it's just alliterative. So here we go. All right, here we go. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins. Frank plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on David.
That's It's Tricky by Run DMC.
Wow. John Popper performs the harmonica solo in the intro to which breakthrough 1994 hit for Blues Traveler?
The Hook?
The harmonica solo?
The Hook.
The intro.
The Hook.
Oh, The Hook. No, incorrect. LP and Killer Mike formed which American hip-hop duo in 2013?
That is Run the Jewels.
Correct. Which 1984 song by Bryan Adams considered a cheating classic for its themes of adultery?
Cuts Like a Knife.
Incorrect.
What?
The title hints at an anti-Vietnam War protest, but John Fogerty says which 1970s CCR song
Fortunate
is that?
Son.
Incorrect. You did win because it was a tricky category. It was.
Give it to me again. Give me the category.
It's called On the Run. So you
On
got
the Run.
Run DMC.
Run DMC.
So Blues Traveler is Run Around.
Yep.
You got Run the Jewels. Now what's the Bryan Adams cheating classic?
Run to You.
Run to You. And CCR is Run Through the Jungle.
The Cuts Like a Knife is literally
A cheating song.
A cheating
too.
song.
Yeah. He likes the cheating songs.
That's such a jam.
All right, tough category, tough way to end it.
Still won.
We got our qualifiers though for the month. Woodsy, congratulations on your win today.
I'm very happy.
All right, we still have Frank's headlines coming up in our Rindle report and more. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go. Flag 17 on. That is wide open. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Reactionary. You know, you gotta develop your own plan and try to execute it. But given the Dodgers have struck early in the offseason and signed Blake Snell, do you see the Padres needing to make any sort of response outside of what they were going to do anyway? I mean, land Roki Sasaki would be a great response. They were going to try to do that regardless of where Blake Snell went this offseason. Is there anything that you need to respond to with the Dodgers?
Go get Corbin Burns today.
Well,
no,
that's,
I don't know.
I
I don't think so. I don't think so. It doesn't. Again, I'm going. One of our most dedicated tier ones is our beloved Mike, the bone of my sword, and he was mad at us and said that he said I love you guys, but F. They finished 5 games behind the Dodgers in 24. Demand effing more. Will it fail? Yeah, probably, but who cares? We've seen it can happen. The goal should always be win the division and win the World Series, but make sure you always get in. And I agree with all of that, except for the trying to outspend them to win a division. I don't agree with. I will stand on my business that you don't need to win your division to win a World Series, and I will.
But don't get me wrong.
You're not going to outspend them.
When the season starts, you're trying to win as many games as possible and beat the Dodgers in the division. But on paper, you're never going to put together a better team on paper.
Yeah.
At least not in the near future, as far as I can see, than the Los Angeles Dodgers. They will be on paper better than the Padres when opening day rolls around.
Yeah.
And they will also be on paper better than
every other team.
The other 29 teams in baseball. Now, they don't play the games on paper, but paper does tell you a lot about, what the team's going to be like, and they will almost certainly win the division and go to the playoffs.
Correct.
But that's not the be-all, end-all. And I saw some people in the chat talking about, well, there goes the Padres' window. The window is closed.
I do not agree.
What window are you talking about? If the Dodgers are so good that the Padres' window is closed, so is the window for 29 other teams. Then the window is shut. Just cancel the 2025 season. Make the Dodgers, back-to-back world champions, and maybe by 2026 the guys are getting older, and you can reevaluate. But if the window is closed on the Padres, then it's closed on every other team. The Padres have as much of a window as any other National League team at the moment.
Sure, yeah, 100%.
The Braves window is it open or closed?
It's open.
I would think it's
Wide
open because they can get to the playoffs, and when they get to the playoffs and face the Dodgers in a 5 or 7 game series, they could beat the Dodgers. Same as the Padres. There are 5 other playoff spots in the National League, 3 wild cards. Padres can win any of them, get to the playoffs, and in a short series beat the Dodgers, or someone else can beat the Dodgers for them, because that's how baseball works. So absolutely the Padres window is still very much open. The window is not is not closed
No,
on the Padres.
I don't buy that at all. I don't buy it, not even for a second. But I also, again, I did call it a fool's errand to try to chase down a division. Hey, you never know what can happen. You saw the injuries last year.
On paper.
On paper, yeah.
On paper.
And by paper, you mean paper. Like paper.
That
trying
kind
to chase
of paper
down
as well.
That kind
but
of paper.
But if you feel like you need to match the Dodgers position for position, starter for starter, reliever for reliever before the season starts by spending money, you can't win. You cannot win that battle.
Correct. You're not going to.
On paper.
On paper.
Now, in the games, my guess is you can win some of those games.
Well, it's Joe Davis said that's why they play the games. And that was Oral. Oral said that. Joe Davis
That's a good question.
said cancel
was
the
it Joe or
parade.
Oral? They were both together.
Joe said cancel the parade. It was after a spring training loss, I believe. He said cancel the parade. And then Oral said that's why you play the games. So, yeah, I mean, the Dodgers were pretty damn close to getting knocked out this year, thanks to your San Diego Padres, and things went wrong. So anything can happen. I will always be, Mike, and everybody listening, I will always be, get to the playoffs. Doesn't mean I'm happy. It doesn't mean I'm happy with how the season turned out. We've backed in the playoffs. We've gotten in the playoffs easily, but I will always be your very, very bare minimum baseline. Get your ass in there, see what happens. Players go down, pitchers go down, pitchers lose it, pitchers find it, players find it, players lose it. It happens all the time. Baseline for me, as a Padres fan, get to the playoffs. Doesn't mean I'm happy. Doesn't mean I'm content. Doesn't mean they should stop. Get to the playoffs. So that's the bare minimum that I need from you.
There's very few guarantees in sports. If someone says they can guarantee, it's something's going to happen.
How'd that work out the last time people did that, man?
But I can guarantee one thing. Next spring, when they do their first power rankings in baseball, I guarantee you the Dodgers will be number one.
Numero uno, and they will be throughout the season.
Anybody who's seriously taking the challenge of ranking the teams to start next season, they will all start the Dodgers at number one. There's just no possible way another team is going to catch them on paper this offseason, including the Mets, no matter what they spend, the Yankees. They cannot catch the Dodgers on paper, just like the Padres cannot. Doesn't mean that their window is closed or that you shouldn't bother playing the season, because they can beat the Dodgers in games, but you can't beat them on paper.
And as I said, man, and I said earlier in the show, and this is if you're a fan of this team, you're excited, right? You're excited because you're getting good players. You're spending money. We've all lived it. We lived it here, certainly, when the Padres were spending a lot of money bringing in good players, but anything less than a World Series victory, everybody's going to call you a chump. Everybody. So that's the target, but that's the target a lot of players want. They want that target. You want to be in that position every year. I want it.
Even a World Series victory that comes, they only won 98 games and, they got pressed in all the series, kind of looks a bit...
It looks a little crazy, but you still got it done.
You got it done, but, you're not going to, the Dodgers competition now is history. Like, how good can we be?
Correct.
How dominant can we be? That's a tough opponent.
Tough opponent.
History is a tough opponent. Yourself is a tough opponent.
You're absolutely right, man. And again, everybody's coming for you. Which, again, if you're a Dodger fan or you're a Dodger player, you're like, good, bring it. That's what I want. They truly are the evil empire. Now, their fans need to act like it a little bit more, and I think they will, because they did win that legit World Series this year. Now you're entitled to be an a-hole all you want, because you did get the job done, and it was an impressive way that you won, certainly. So, but I'll tell you, man, like, every team you're going to get every team's best effort for 162, and when the playoffs get there, you're going to get every team's best effort, as you should. But yeah, man, they're the evil empire now, no question.
All right, final timeout. We'll come back. Frankie will give us some headlines, including the word of the year for 2024 is already out.
The word of the year.
The word of the year.
Okay.
We got a month left. There couldn't be another word that sneaks in at the wire.
Is it taint?
It's not. Oh. That's your word of the year.
Should be.
Not the actual word of the year. Coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We did tease some food hot takes early in the show. We kind of got to them.
Yeah, we kind of did.
We learned that about 40% of you like the combination of chocolate and orange, which Woods and I both think are disgusting together.
Repulsive.
Just awful. But some of you out there do enjoy that. I did see one just now, and that is, I don't care if you fry it, broil it, bake it, brine it, stuff it, cook it on your car engine, salt and pepper it, use some special handed-down 8 generations recipe, cook it slow, fast, grill it, microwave, or cook it on the moon. Turkey sucks.
Wow.
That's
that is
a hot take.
Good turkey is great. Bad turkey is not.
Turkey's tough to get right.
It is. You need it moist.
I mean, if you want to do
and tender.
If you want to do a turkey that looks really good, when you take it to the table with brown skin, and you know it's all, but still all together. Tough to cook it evenly all the way through. You're going to get dry bits. You got to get it cooked through. If you want to now take it apart and cook it in pieces, you could like sous vide it. You could do different things. You can make it just perfect, juicy and tender and delicious. Jeez. But it's not going to look. It's not going to look like a Thanksgiving turkey anymore.
You know the chef Richard Blaze?
Yes,
he's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Ember and Rye. I follow him on Instagram. You know what his secret is to a moist turkey? Listen up, everybody. He rubs the entire thing with mayonnaise. Mayonnaise. Slathers it. Yeah, it's like
not butter.
No, mayonnaise. It calls it like suntan lotion. And just lubes this thing, just big squirt of mayonnaise in his hand and just all over that turkey. Now, I've heard of that. I've heard of taking hamburger patties and doing that as well. There's the fat in there. It keeps them together.
You like stick a hamburger patty on the outside of a bird?
No.
Oh, you put mayonnaise on a hamburger patty.
Oh, my God. Are you on ketamine? Yes, this is my burger turkey that I'm making. Are you out of your mind?
Well, there's like turducken, which is
true.
A duck stuffed in a chicken, stuffed in a turkey. I thought maybe there's a
hamburger patties on the outside. Oh my God! No, but you can form your hamburger patties with mayo as well as you make them.
Mayonnaise is simply eggs and oil.
Yeah.
And egg is a good binder. Oil is a fat that usually can convey flavor. I'm not a mayonnaise fan. I don't think I like the egginess of the mayonnaise is why I tend to not put it on my sandwiches.
I don't even think you'd notice it if you rubbed your turkey in it.
No, that would all disappear.
If that guy does it, I'm thinking it's probably a good idea.
Now, we've spatchcocked our turkey before, which helps it cook a little more evenly.
Indeed.
It's not. It's flat. It's flattened out as opposed to a big giant bird. But it's tough to cook a turkey successfully for Thanksgiving.
It really is. It's quite an undertaking. But if you are able to spatchcock it, I think anytime you can spatchcock it, you do it. Anytime.
Why not?
Why not? When in doubt, spatchcock.
Whenever you have that chance.
Yep.
All right, we're going to check traffic in just a second. This hour of Ben and Woods is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings is football. Hey, San Diego sports fans, head to your local Buffalo Wild Wings. Try their new maple chipotle sauce for rich maple sweetness and a mild, smoky chipotle heat. Or for a bit of kick, check out the new Cajun sauce with a rich blend of tangy peppers. Stop by your San Diego B-Dubs or order now for takeout and delivery with Buffalo Wild Wings Go. The word of the year and some college football playoff rankings in our Reindl Report with Frank after traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
We haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And one story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
Take it away.
Frankie, thank you for these last 3 days. Appreciate having you in this week. We're very thankful for you.
Yes.
help if I turn the mic on.
There you go.
Not a problem at all. Would help you guys out any time. All right. So yesterday, the college football playoff rankings came out. We have the bracket here ready to go. Again, this is as if the season were to end today, it's not taking into account who could possibly play in or win these conference championship games. So right now, the 4 teams that are getting the bye, remember those are the 4 conference winners. The Power 4 conference winners get the bye. So
not necessarily, because Boise State is not one of them, but they could. As long as they finish ahead, they'd be the bye winner.
This is exactly what happened on the special last night that I was watching with Reese Davis. It's the watching the wheels spin, and you're like, what? What are you talking about? Why do we do this? Let me know at the end of the season where everything falls. It's like watching somebody. It's like being in a foreign country and putting on the television and be like, oh, you guys are talking Greek. It is just circular. I mean, they just blah, blah, blah. What about this and this and this? And the committee does this. It is bananas.
You're a 24-hour sports network. You need to kill some time somewhere.
Yes, and that's what it is. One big punt.
If only our news networks didn't do that. Number 1 is Oregon right now. They would be getting a bye. Presumed winner of the Big Ten. Presumed winner of the SEC, Texas. They will be number 2. ACC would be Miami. They are number 3. And Boise State, as been ruined before, is going to get number 4. Your first round play-in games. Now, these games are hosted. They are not neutral site games. So Arizona State would be going to Ohio State right now. That's the 12 versus the 5. Winner gets Boise. Tennessee will be at Georgia. That game, the winner of that game would go to Oregon. Indiana would be at Beaver Stadium to take on Penn State. The winner of that game gets Miami. And then SMU takes on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The winner of that game gets Texas. So that is the college playoff bracket as of this week.
So those matchups are theoretically possible?
Yes.
There's no provision that you can't have conference rematches in the first round.
Oh, yeah, these are not locked in.
That would have had 2 SEC teams playing each other and 2 Big Ten teams playing each other. Indiana, Penn State. Can't imagine the committee wants that.
No.
I think you'd rather have cross-conference matchups in the playoffs. Technically, I don't think they're supposed to move a team around just to make sure they don't face a conference opponent. But as a fan, I kind of want that. I don't want to see another conference game after the conference championships and the playoff game.
Yeah, conference championship.
I want to see 2 different conferences play.
You see plenty of
the biggest takeaway here is Alabama is not in.
Yeah.
They're the
13th
team. Clemson's actually 12 because the Big 12 champ, which right now would be Arizona State, but could be any of them, would leapfrog them. They would also get knocked out. So Clemson and Alabama would be left on the outside looking in.
I'm looking forward to discussing this on Monday when things have shaken out. And we have an idea. A week from Monday.
Well, after the conference championship game. So, a week from Monday. But it's kind of interesting. I was looking Alabama and Auburn are more highly ranked in basketball now than they are in football. Didn't see that coming a few years ago, did we?
Sure didn't.
I certainly didn't. All right, next story. We're moving kind of quick here because we're up against the end of the show. The moral of this story, if you are a famous person and you have endorsements, do not commit crimes, especially of the sexual assault variety. Conor McGregor will no longer be the face of Irish whiskey brand Proper 12.
Sorry.
After he was found liable of sexual assault in Dublin.
That's his company, right?
Yeah.
Did he fire himself?
No, he sold his interest in the company 2021, and then he had just been the endorser since then. So now they're cutting him out of it.
He helped found the company in 2018, and then he sold his stakes in Proper number 12 in 2021, but continued as the public face of the brand. McGregor, 35, was found liable by a civil jury in a case in which a woman said McGregor sexually assaulted her in a hotel room in December of 2018.
Pretty gnarly details.
Yes.
You obviously can't repeat them on the air.
The High Court in Dublin ordered him to pay the complaint 248,000 euros, or around $275,000. So, yeah, unless you want to lose your endorsements,
everything.
Don't do that.
Correct.
And he's planning.
Yeah.
He's expecting to lose a lot more than just the whiskey.
As Anthony said, pro tip: don't commit sexual assault, even if you don't have sponsorships. That's all. Probably a good way to. That's just don't commit sexual assault.
That's
good advice.
That is a
regardless
Ben Woods,
of your number or level of sponsorships.
Correct.
That is a Ben & Woods top tip trademarked by 97.3 The Fan.
Thank you very much.
The word of the year, as Ben has been waiting for.
Haktua.
That's 2 words.
That's 2 words. Damn it.
There have been a couple of big contenders, leaders, if you will, in this race. Brain rot.
Brain rot is one of my favorites.
That's 1 word. Brain rot.
Yes, that is one word.
Interesting.
Something I do the second I leave here every single day.
Same.
Brat.
Dodger fans live with it just daily. Brain rot.
Brat is another one.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's had an updated
brat.
meaning.
Like
brat.
Sure.
Sausages.
like sausages. It's a brat, not a brat.
Okay. And I think very fitting after that line of conversation, weird was one of the finalists. However, the winner, beating it out, was demure.
Demure.
Very demure.
Very demure was it.
Very mindful.
Very mindful, very demure. Don't know where it came from. We avoided it like the plague. We didn't bring it up. It's weird because we didn't avoid Haktua. We went the opposite of that. Embraced it.
Oh, did you? I didn't. You didn't turn away from that
We
one?
did not. We did very mindful, very demure was a player for about 6
Demure,
weeks.
an adjective meaning reserved, modest, and shy, typically used of a woman. A demure young lady.
Yeah, the word's been around forever.
Right, it's not a new word.
It's not a new word. That's why I don't understand this.
Well, allow me to shine some light for you. The word was brought back into, experienced as dictionary.com would say, a meteoric rise in usage, up 1,200% between January and August. The spike was largely contributed to TikToker and beauty influencer Jules LeBron and her popularity, and of course just the swiftness and catchiness of it kind of helped it take off.
Never saw the clip.
I don't totally get it, because I would assume, like, being demure, not necessarily a prized commodity anymore.
Is it not?
I don't think so.
Do you like a demure woman? What does demure mean?
Again, reserved, modest, and shy.
Oh, I don't like that. No.
See,
Pass.
I mean, here in the year 2024, people need to stand out. They
That's
need
right.
to break through. They don't need to stay in the shadows.
Yeah,
and
don't stay
be demure. Like, hey, be yourself. Enjoy your life. Wear what you want to wear.
Yeah, be
don't
who you want to be.
Don't just be demure because other people think you should be demure. Now, if you're just a naturally demure person, you should roll with it. But I don't see a lot of demureness in modern life anymore. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
Delilah was very demure.
I wouldn't say that.
I will say I think that's more me, because when we go to a restaurant, somebody needs to tell the waiter that they overcooked my burger, and it's not going to be me.
You're too shy.
Right.
You're too demure to do it.
It's not.
I won't do
gonna
it.
be
Hey,
me.
Frankie, I'm a loudmouth. I won't do it either. I will not do it. You make me the wrong sandwich, I'm like, all right, let's wear it.
We're eating this one.
I'm just going to eat it. I'll suck it down. It's fine. You're very demure.
I am fairly demure.
You are
actually.
fairly
Yes. Reserved, modest, and shy.
That's right.
Demure is maybe someone who spends 20 hours on the radio and several on television every single week can be.
Correct.
A demure, massive egomaniac.
Anytime that you're not demure is usually against your will. It's something I've
True.
made you do.
True.
See, that's where you go. Very not demure. Very chaotic.
Very not mindful. Yeah, Anthony says, I guess this is my lunch now. That's me, bro. I'll get the Philly cheesesteak, and I get like a turkey sub. I'm like, all right, It's fine. I'll just eat it.
Do you think maybe the universe is trying to tell you something?
Maybe, but it's just like I'm not going to go back up to hey, maybe the wrong sandwich. I just can't do it.
What would
why.
you go back for? Nothing?
If you forgot something, if I ordered a cookie and you didn't put it in there, I would walk back.
Can I
in
have
and
my
get
cookie?
It. Yeah,
I
well,
didn't get my cookie.
Yes.
You wouldn't also mention my sandwich.
Hey, my sandwich is wrong?
completely
No.
wrong.
I would.
At some point, don't you think you have someone else's order? Like you've just taken someone else's lunch.
I'll just wear it. I'll wear it.
They're eating yours.
I'll
'cause
wear it.
They were also too demure to go back and say anything.
I don't want to interrupt the other people in line, so it's fine. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We love
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving.
Thankful for you.
Thankful for Frank for being here this week. Thankful for Paulie, who will be back on Monday after his vacation. Thankful for you, Woodsy. Everybody we work with here, really appreciate it. Have a very safe and happy holiday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.